Part 126. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1268. Chapter 1244 Wushanzi Earth God Cauldron. Under normal circumstances, the sale of the 21 medium-grade Hongmeng spiritual items, the Tai's Hangyuan Demon Enlightenment Book, is already a sky-high price, enough to attract countless exclamations and envy. But as the bell rang, there was a strange brief calm in the auction hall. Without it, there was some bad blood among the great masters. Throughout the whole process, they used the Dian mirror to see the expressions of the 4 great masters in their eyes. Su Junming and Yang Mei had more judgments about the relationship between them. Teacher, it seems that Milo and Totin have united together. Maybe there is also True Lord Datong, Su Junming said. True Lord Datong. The higher the price of Tai Shangyuan Demon Enlightenment Book is sold, the more benefits he will get. Milo and Tuoshan are not fools. How can they do this kind of self-sacrifice without a prior commitment? Master Huanglong is isolated. Yang Mei looked solemn. No matter what the world is, once the original situation is out of balance, it will bring endless war. It's not as bad as you think. The interests among the great masters are entangled, and no one will really join forces with others. So it is still unknown what will happen in the end. But judging from today, the situation in the wilderness has become unbalanced. Signs. Yang Mei responded, Teacher, what should we do with this opportunity of great change? Just wait and see what happens. We don't have the strength to sweep the world right now. Moreover, the Manghuang realm is just one of them. There is also the demon spirit realm, as well as the Tianyun realm, Luo Siam realm, etc. that are not far away. A single move can affect the whole body. Before having absolute strength, it would be difficult for Chongshan to appear in front of them prematurely. When Su Junming does things, he likes to make decisions before taking action. He secretly accumulates strength, waits for others to finish the fight, and then comes out to sweep away the ugly ones and establish victory in one fell swoop. This time is no exception. Congratulations to Senior Milo for taking this volume of the Enlightenment Book of the Supreme Yuan Demon. Next, let's take a look at the third and final item. Feng Taokang was not a fool. After noticing the discord among the great masters, he announced the result very quickly and quickly attracted the attention of the cultivators to the last auction item. His strategy was indeed successful. After all, the last lot of the entire auction is basically the most precious and valuable thing. All the monks were curious about what it was. Especially with the Supreme Dragon Bone and the Tai Shangyuan Demon Enlightenment Book as the foundation, the curiosity is naturally stronger. Feng Taokang pinched a few seals and raised his hand. Auras of light danced in the air, like dancing elves, gathering together quickly. But the condensation of this last lot took a particularly long time. This is normal. It is not easy to do powerful spiritual things, even if they are only displayed in the form of projection. After all, this is not just a shadow, but also involves a trace of Dao Yun. Just like the projection of the Dian mirror given to his direct disciple by Su Junming, although its power is less than 1/1000th of the original body, its power still exceeds that of countless middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasures. The spiritual light became thicker and thicker. After suddenly brightening, it suddenly dimmed. A 3-legged cauldron appeared in front of the cultivators. This large cauldron is simple and exquisite. The belly of the cauldron is embossed with a scrolling leaf pattern. The 2 cauldron ears are round carved animal heads. It looks like a tiger, but with a single horn and 3 eyes between its eyebrows. It looks quite majestic. The circular tripod is covered with a mountain top. Although it is just a sculpture, the majestic and beautiful mountains, waterfalls, and springs look just like the real thing. More importantly, the mountains, which are only a few hundred acres in size, look vast and majestic. and the momentum of the entire cauldron is even more powerful and vast, like an ancient giant mountain, weighing heavily on everyone's hearts. This is a spiritual treasure, a more powerful top-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure. However, on this powerful spiritual treasure, a smooth crack spread from the lid of the cauldron to the belly of the cauldron, almost cutting the entire cauldron in half. It was as if there were cracks in a piece of fine china. All the monks showed indescribable regret on their faces. There was a huge sigh in the entire auction hall. It's a pity that such a powerful high-grade Hongmeng Lingbao was destroyed like this. It's a pity. It is indeed a pity. However, if it were not for this crack, how could such a powerful top-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure appear in front of us, and it would be impossible to get it at the auction. What Brother Taoist said is true. Seeing the cauldron broken into pieces like this, most of the internal restrictions have been destroyed. How much power does such a residual weapon still have? Who would buy it at a high price? Haha. You don't know something about this. Please give me some advice, Brother Dao. I practice the Tao of Fire and am proficient in refining weapons. But I still claim to know some of its secrets. Don't look at this big cauldron. It's broken and the internal restrictions have collapsed. But the materials used to refine it are a genuine high-grade Hongmeng spirit. Material, and extremely hard. If it is used for protection, it is extremely difficult to break open a mid-grade Hongmen level magic weapon. In addition, even though it is a broken weapon, no matter how incomplete it is still a top-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure, which contains the Supreme Dao. If it is used with if you are on the same path, buy it and study it, you will definitely gain something. I see. Brother Dao is still well informed, and I admire him. You're welcome, fellow Taoist. It's a pity that you and I have limited financial resources. Even this residual weapon cannot be coveted by you or me. His lament was also the voice of countless people in the auction hall. The baby is good, but not many people have the opportunity. As you all have seen, the great auction of this era at our Jibao auction house is the Wushen Si2 Shen Ding in front of you. How this thing was refined is unknown, but at its peak, it was a top-grade Hongmeng Lingbao with 8 restrictions and in line with the way of the earth. Its power is earth-shaking, and it has the power to suppress hundreds of millions of chaotic worlds. Although it was destroyed by a sharp weapon, it is now only a 5-level restricted middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure, but it is still extremely strong and can block the attack and death of all middle-grade spiritual treasures. Its remaining earthly charm is extremely powerful against the Supreme Master and the Great Master. Strong reference significance. So, although this Wushen Si Earth God Cauldron is a remnant weapon, its power cannot be underestimated. Moreover, this is the only one that has appeared at auctions and can be circulated since the birth of our Mang Huang world. The top-grade Hongmeng Lingbao should be treasured by all of you. In the end, although this thing was destroyed, it is not impossible to repair it. After a pause, Feng Taokang's tone suddenly became high-pitched. The Wushen Si Earth God Cauldron has a base price of 9 mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects. Each time the price increases, it will be no less than 1 mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual object. Now, please make bids from fellow Taoists who are interested in this spiritual treasure. The words echoed in the huge auction hall, but not everyone has enough financial resources and confidence to bid for this extremely valuable but flawed treasure. For a moment, the entire auction hall looked at each other, but no one bid. Feng Taokang was not in a hurry. He also knew that this thing would not be sold anytime soon, so he simply stood on the stage and waited. He looked away from the cauldron. Brother Dao, don't you have a lot of treasures in your hands? Especially this big cauldron. Although it is a remnant weapon, it is indeed a rare treasure for cultivating the Tao of the Earth. Great Master Huanglong's eyes flashed. Since it is a treasure, fellow Taoist might as well buy it. True Lord Datong looked calm. I did think about it. Unfortunately, I am a water master, and this cauldron is not suitable for my path, so I might as well forget it. He almost got scammed when he bought the Supreme UN Demon Enlightenment book before. How could he step in again? Moreover, this broken cauldron is indeed inconsistent with his path. As for getting some protective power, it's not worth the big cost. However, fellow Taoist Milo and fellow Taoist Tuoshan can give it a try. Seeing Huanglong's malicious eyes, although Milo and Tuoshan were calm on the surface, their eyes became much gloomier. Obviously, if they were to bid, Huanglong would definitely stumble and trap them like before. The two of them had a headache when they thought about spending several times the price to buy a remnant weapon that was not the same as theirs. Being cheated in public is also very embarrassing. I major in thunder, and this thing is not in line with my path. Tuo Tianzun said directly. Me too. Lord Maluo mainly focuses on wooden ways and is not urgent about this broken cauldron. My two fellow Taoists have many disciples. I can buy it back for them to learn from. Fellow Taoist Huanglong has many sons and grandsons, so why don't you buy them? My dragon clan is dominated by the three paths of water, wind, and thunder. Although the path of the earth is the superior path, there are very few people in our dragon clan who practice this path. It is not worth the loss to buy it back. I, Milo Holy Court, are just like fellow Taoists. Tuo Tianzun said with a smile, since both Taoist friends are not interested, why not give this thing to me? Seeing the eyes mainly falling on him, Huanglong smiled. This is not possible. Although this Egoshan Division Earth God Cauldron is not a must-have item for our dragon clan, if the price is too low, I am still prepared to participate. God Tuoshan's eyes instantly became gloomy. This blatant threat made him angry. If possible, he really wanted to slap the bastard in front of him to death. He, fellow Taoist is really in a good mood. The last few words were spoken through gritted teeth. Lord Huanglong didn't care about Tuoshan's threat. That's right, he is the only great master of the dragon clan in the vast world. But the dragon clan is spread across the 3 mountains, 4 seas, and 9 wildernesses. If Tuoshan, Maluo, or Datong want to use the crowd to bully the few, they can also use their own connections to summon their fellow tribesmen to demand justice. Of course, this is an option only in case of emergency. Until the last moment, it would be better not to do this kind of thing that makes Mang Huangtiandao disgusted. To each other, Taoist friends, our previous interest was good. This dragon lord is just influenced by you. He, Huanglong, is the one who will surely retaliate. Just when Tuoshan was about to speak, a majestic voice suddenly sounded in the hall that had been silent for a long time. 9 middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects. Hearing this, the auction hall instantly exploded. Who made the bid? The box on the 2nd floor, the one where I bought the Supreme Dragon Bone before. Oh my god, this cultivator is really brave. He actually dares to snatch things from the hands of the great masters one after another. I admire him. I admire him. How can this be considered robbery? The great masters did not bid, and the auction will be a fair competition. This is what the Jubeo sect promised in advance. If you buy something, but are bullied and robbed by the great masters, who will dare to come to them in the future? Are you going to buy something from Jubeo sect? Haha, young man. In the vast world, the strong has always been king. Whoever has the biggest fist has the right. Etiquette and morality are things that only monks of the same level can talk about. The cultivators were talking a lot, and their enthusiastic eyes were shaking in front of Su Junming's auction hall. Fellow Daoist Su is indeed an extraordinary person, Zhenjun Xianmiao said with excitement and admiration. You mean, I'm just being stupid and bold? Isn't it foolish and bold to dare to take food from the mouths of the great masters? But he didn't dare to say this to Su Junming. Fellow Taoist, please don't misunderstand me. I have absolutely no intention to do so. I just expressed my feelings at the moment. Seeing him smiling and laughing, Su Junming didn't push too hard. How do you say that bad phrase? The sparrow knows the ambition of the swan. Although this Wu Shen Si2 Shen Ding is a broken weapon, it is not defective except for a sword wound. If Su Junming's time Dao can go one step further and enter the realm of the Supreme, with the great magical power of returning to the origin of time, it is possible to restore this cauldron to its heyday style little by little. Of course, the process may be long, but it is nothing compared to a high-grade Hongmeng Lingbao with 8 restrictions. Therefore, he is determined to win this Wu Shen Si2 Shen Ding. Brother Datong, isn't this the person you asked for? Huanglong asked with a meaningful smile. Fellow Taoist Huanglong has misunderstood. The auctions of Jibao sect always have clear prices and are absolutely not false. Really? Then I'll be relieved. After a pause, he suddenly said, 10 middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects. It's rare that Brother Datong is willing to take out a top-grade Hongmeng Lingbao remnant. We must not let others take advantage of it. Milo and Tuoshan frowned. Anyone who wasn't a fool would understand that this was meant for them. Before the second cultivator could speak. 11 middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects. Haha, it seems that this cultivator is very interested in this Egoshan division Earth God Cauldron, and he caught up with it so quickly. Forget it, let's have a few fights with him. After Huanglong's meaningful gaze swept over the 3 people beside him, he lazily shouted towards the auction hall. 12 middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects. Only half a quarter of an hour passed. 13 medium-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects. In the alternating bidding between Su Junming and Huanglong Grand Master, the price of the Eshensi Earth God Cauldron quickly exceeded 20 mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual items. 21 middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects. Su Junming's tone was as steady as ever. The so-called middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects can be middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual pills, middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual fruits, middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual materials, etc. To others, these things are rare and priceless. But as far as Su Junming is concerned, there may not be many middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual materials and spiritual treasures, but there are many middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual pills. Let alone 20, even 30-50, it's nothing more than that. However, Great Master Huanglong is different. When the price exceeded 25 mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual items, the pressure turned. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1269. Chapter 1245. The auction ends, Datong Tower. Looking at the aura in mid-air, the aura dimmed slightly, and there was a crack in the middle, turning the originally exquisite decoration into an ugly cauldron. Brother Datong is very qualified. However, the price of 25 middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects is much higher. Fellow Taoist Huanglong has misunderstood. True monarch Datong looked calm. Misunderstanding? Haha, let's call it a misunderstanding. But my psychological price point is 25 mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects, and forget it. Above he turned his eyes and looked at Master Maluo and Tuoshan Zunchen. If fellow Taoists are interested, you may wish to participate. The 2 cultivators' faces trembled and they were too lazy to pay attention to him. There are already 25 middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual items, why don't you join in? Only a fool would do something that was clearly meant to bring benefits to true monarch Datong. It's a pity that the Wu Shen Si2 Ding is too damaged, otherwise we should consider it. With some regretful thoughts, this treasure fell into Su Junming's hands for the price of 25 mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects. This is the end of the grand auction of the treasure-gathering era. Not to mention the excited Su Junming, Master Huanglong stood up. Fellow Taoist, I took 2 photos of the finale in a row. There is something extraordinary about this practice. Why don't I go and experience it? The Jibao sect promised to keep the Taoist friends who participated in the auction confidential. So, let's forget about this matter. Fellow Taoist is so cautious, maybe there is something inside. Huanglong deliberately emphasized the last two words, and their meaning is thought-provoking. Milo and Tuoshan's hearts moved, and they looked over subconsciously. If the person who made the bid earlier was not a trustworthy person, then the person who could produce multiple mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects could only be a great person like them. No one knows better than them what it means for a great master with strong cultivation to come to the wild world. True Lord Daitong instantly sensed the change in the expressions of the three people, and couldn't help but feel angry in his heart and frowned. He finally persuaded Milo and Tuoshan, and they all worked together to exclude the Yellow Dragon Lord who had connections with the tens of thousands of dragons in the southern wilderness. Unexpectedly, he opened a big hole with just a few words. After all, it is just a verbal alliance, without any deep interests involved, and it may change at any time. After hesitating for a moment, True Lord Daitong decided to conceal Su Junming's identity. An existence that can refine middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasures and elixirs is really rare. Except for the 3 mountains and 4 seas, there are basically no such powerful monks in the 9 wildernesses. Once exposed, it will definitely lead to competition from the other 3 families. After all, this is a multiplier that strengthens the top power of our sect. Moreover, with the help of the mid-grade Hongmeng Lingbao, 5 or 6 supreme lords can form a large formation to compete with the great lord. Therefore, this person must not be exposed to the eyes of Maluo, Huanglong, and Tuoshan. In comparison, what are mere misunderstandings? The rules cannot be changed, otherwise how will the Jibao sect win the trust of others? The straightforward rejection made the 3 cultivators look different, but it made them even more curious. It's a pity that this is the foundation of the treasure-gathering sect, and there are many restrictions there, many of which were placed by True Lord Daitong himself. Although they were great masters and had powerful spiritual consciousness, they were unable to break through the restrictions and blockades and find out the identity and appearance of that person. As for using spiritual treasures or magic techniques to deduce, it is difficult to use them directly in the presence of True Lord Daitong. Although everyone seemed to be inseparable, it was not the time to break up. Fellow Taoist, the auction is over, please come with me, Xian Miao Zhenjun said. After slightly nodding, fellow Taoist Xian Miao, when can I get 2 treasures? Fellow Taoist, don't be anxious. The Jibao sect, never do anything deceptive. But the 2 final treasures are of extremely high value and are of great importance. We need to report them to the Patriarch of Daitong before we can make friends with them. Fellow Taoist, don't worry, it won't take more than 3 years. For practitioners, 3 years is already a very short period of time. In that case, let's wait. Thank you for your trust, fellow Taoist. Please follow me. I will take the 2 fellow Taoists back to the room. Under the leadership of True Lord Xianmiao, the 2 walked through the corridor. Su Junming soon discovered that this was not the direction they came from. Fellow Taoist Xianmiao, this doesn't seem to be the way to our residence. Fellow Daoist Su is indeed very discerning. This is indeed not the way we came here before. But you 2 don't have to worry. The reason why I changed your accommodation for you is for safety. How to say? Fellow Taoist Su stole food from a tiger's mouth twice. Although he was very successful, he also harmed the 3 great masters Maluo, Tuoshan, and Huanglong. If it were not for the protection of Patriarch Daitong, fellow Taoist Su would have been in danger at this moment. However, the great master's method was extraordinary. Daitong the Patriarch can protect you for a while, but cannot protect you for a lifetime. Therefore, after the auction, I summoned the 2 fellow Taoists to change their residence. With his old man taking care of them, the 2 fellow Taoists will be safe. And not just Taoist fellows, but all those in the entire treasure judging sect who know the identity of fellow Taoists must avoid the limelight. So serious? Xianmiao Zhenjun said with a wry smile, I have few contacts with fellow Taoists, so I'm afraid they don't know the tyranny of the three great masters. Once they become interested in something, they will definitely try their best to find out. Even if they can't catch the fellow Taoists, they will attack us. Although Patriarch Datong is strong, he cannot protect everyone. So, it's me who has caused you trouble. I don't blame fellow Taoist. Moreover, fellow Taoist can donate generously at the auction because he is an honored guest of my Baozong section. It's just that some of the great lords have unruly temperaments and cannot tolerate us, the great lords, taking food from their mouths, even if it is reasonable and legal. It's not even possible to buy it. He sighed and shook his head. The world of cultivation is a place where the weak prey on the strong. The truth sometimes doesn't make sense when facing high-level monks. Seeing his look, Su Junming smiled lightly and said nothing more. True monarch Xian Miao only saw that he was being oppressed by the great lord, but did not see the countless Hunyuan monks, and even more low-level monks, trembling when facing him. Under the leadership of true Lord Xian Miao, he left the auction house of Jubao sect, activated his magic power, and went straight up to the 9-story pagoda floating in the center of Datongfang. Fellow Daoist Su, this is it. He took a brief look at the majestic octagonal tower standing in front of him with a powerful aura. Is this the rumored Datong Tower where the god of great harmony suppresses the world? Exactly. True Lord Xian Miao showed strong respect and envy on his face. It is precisely because of the suppression of this divine tower that Datongfang can be as stable as Mount Tai and suppress the billions of miles of mountains and rivers of the huge Datong divine state. It is indeed a rare artifact. After observing for a moment, he turned his head. Yang Mei. The disciple is here. The auction has ended. You don't have to accompany me. Go back to Chongshan first. Datong Divine Tower is to Datong Divine Lord just like Chongshan Residence is to him. It is the core of the Taoist temple. The monk is located in it and can explode with 120% power. Moreover, as the master of the dojo, he can detect every change in the dojo in detail. It can be said that outsiders who enter without absolute strength and spiritual treasures are just pigs and sheep slaughtered on someone else's chopping board. Su Junming is just a clone. If he is gone, he is gone. The loss is not big. But Yang Mei is indeed here, and she must not fall into it, as her life is in his hands. Yang Mei was smart and instantly understood the teacher's plan. Bowed. Disciple, obey. The teacher's magical powers have long exceeded his imagination, and with the help of a great treasure, he is enough to protect himself. Although his staying is not necessarily a burden, his help to the teacher is limited. In this case, it is better to respect the teacher's orders. Fellow Taoist Xian Miao, farewell. True monarch Xian Miao nodded with a smile. My fellow Taoist, it's a good journey. When we go to Chongshan Dazhu again in the future, you and I will raise our glasses and have a drink. When the time comes, I will fulfill my friendship as landlord. It's a deal. It's a deal. Teacher, this disciple is leaving now. Use the space escape method and go back as soon as possible, Su Junming said in a message. Yang Mei nodded, gave a final salute, turned around and headed back outside Datongfang. The escape was as fast as lightning, more than 100 times faster than when he came. After leaving Datongfang, the figure disappeared in just an instant. Fellow Daoist Su, your disciple's escape method is actually so powerful. My disciple is the best at escaping, and is often better than my teacher. The topic changed. Fellow Taoist Xian Miao, where is my stay? Fellow Taoist, please follow me. Finally, he glanced at the direction Yang Mei left and led Su Junming towards the tower. Although the time he had been in contact with the master and apprentice was not short, he still felt that there were too many mysteries about the other party that he had not yet figured out. It's a pity that the two masters and disciples are too vigilant and have extremely high cultivation levels, so it is difficult to spy on them. According to the instructions of Supreme Elder Sun Ruyun, Su Junming was brought to a room on the third floor of Datong Tower. Fellow Taoist Su, this is the new residence arranged for you. If you are not satisfied, I will apply to the Patriarch to change it for you. Looking at the elegant and quiet natural scenery surrounded by green mountains and blue water lakes in front of him, Su Junming smiled and nodded. This place is good, this is it. As long as fellow Taoist is satisfied. The spiritual energy in the Datong Tower is thousands of times that of Chongshan Dazhu. No monk will refuse to live here. Thank you for your trouble. Fellow Taoist Su is willing to come to our treasure judging sex auction house with a bounty, so naturally we have the obligation to take good care of fellow Taoist. After a pause, he took out a copper bell from his waist and handed it over. Fellow Taoist, please keep this God summoning bell. If you need anything, you can use this bell to find me. Once the bell rings, Xian Miao will rush to you as soon as possible. He reached out to take it, shook it slightly in his hand, and agreed with a smile. Using a 9-level forbidden high-grade Hunyuan Lingbao as a walkie-talkie user shows the luxury of true monarch Datong. However, something of this level is indeed very low-end to the great master. Thank you. You're welcome, fellow Taoist, so I won't bother you anymore. When there is news from the Patriarch, I will inform you as soon as possible. Good work. You're welcome, fellow Taoist. After saying goodbye, True Lord Xian Miao turned and left. After watching him leave, Su Junming looked around the small world. Instead of going to the wooden building in the center, he casually sat down on a huge rock by the stream. This is the dojo of True Lord Datong. Any unnecessary movements may be discovered, so he is too lazy to do anything. Sit cross-legged in silence and wait for the other person to come over. But what was unexpected was that he sat through more than a dozen UN meetings without waiting for the other party. The Xian Miao true monarch in the middle never appeared again, and Su Junming had been sitting cross-legged on the boulder, never moving at all. On the 9th floor of the Datong Tower, a huge water mirror clearly showed the image of Su Junming sitting cross-legged and silently. 18 UN will come down, has he always been like this? Sun Ruyun nodded, disciple has been observing secretly, and indeed it has not moved. The concentration is extraordinary. No wonder he can achieve such achievements. I heard that his sect has also developed well in recent years. Yes. Almost every living being in Chongshan state is a disciple of Chongshan. And the order is very orderly, with few acts of hatred and vendetta. The prosperity of cultivation surpasses almost all the major states, second only to Datong Shenzhou. Well, you do have some skills. After the words fell, he waved his hand casually. Several rays of spiritual light flew towards Sun Ruyun, who looked inquiring after using them. There are 7 middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual pills here. You can take them back and share them with Xian Miao and Xian Yang. Then leave here and go back to Jabao Zong. Teacher, the 3 great masters have left. Although the time of 18 Yuan Hui is not long, it is enough to make them lose their patience. However, do not leave Datong Fang in a short time, just in case. Disciple, obey. Sun Ruyun respectfully agreed. Anyway, after the big auction of Era, almost all the good things accumulated in Treasure Sect for many years have been sold. The small auctions in various continents outside do not require the presence of their superiors, so they just stay in Datong Fang to practice for a while. After Sun Ruyun said goodbye and left, True Lord Datong looked at the figure sitting cross-legged on the water mirror. He took a step and the figure disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he was already hundreds of feet in front of Su Junming. Su Junming, who noticed something strange, quickly opened his eyes. Looking across from him, he looked at the young man wearing a white robe, with white eyebrows and white hair, but a face like an innocent baby. Falling from the boulder. Su Junming has met the true king. You know me? I don't know. But apart from Zhenjun, there should be no other Hongmeng monks who can enter and exit this place freely. You are quite smart. No wonder you were able to comprehend Tiangong Dao to such a level in an environment like Zhuhuang. Hearing this, Su Junming showed a hint of surprise on his face. This is the first time someone has seen that he has comprehended the Tao of Tiangong, rather than the Tao of alchemy as the main one and the Tao of weapons as a supplement, or perhaps the Tao of utensils as the main one and the Tao of alchemy as a supplement. Don't be surprised. Hongmeng is vast and boundless. The 3 mountains and 4 seas are the core, and the 9 desolations are just the edges. There are many people like you who have successfully understood the way of heavenly craftsmanship in the 3 mountains and 4 seas. It's just that the 9 desolations' spiritual energy is thin and their inheritance is incomplete. Rarely seen. That's it? The 3 mountains and 4 seas are indeed the holy land of cultivation that everyone yearns for. True Lord Datong smiled, his deep eyes locked on Su Junming. Cultivation in Tiangong Dao is difficult. To reach your current state, you probably have a teacher, right? Su Junming's mind was spinning and he nodded directly, with a trace of regret on his face. It's a pity that the teacher didn't let me tell him his name. True Lord Datong nodded slightly in his heart. This is normal. If there is no master, who can understand the Tiangong Dao and enter the realm of Hongmeng? After understanding this, I no longer dared to look down on the man opposite me. A supreme master is nothing, but a teacher who can teach the supreme master and is also a powerful master of Tiangong Dao cannot be ignored. The latter are mostly powerful people from all over the world. Moreover, every person who practices Tiangong Dao is the target of all cultivators, so their friendship is extremely wide. Countless monks are eager to stand up for him. If he bullies his disciple, he doesn't need others to come forward, but those powerful people who want to gain connections can drown him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1270. Chapter 1246, Going with the Flow, Refining Treasure Promises. Seeing that the true Lord of Datong actually figured it out on his own, and that he had a powerful master's background, Su Junming simply admitted it. Although he controls the Calabash Vine and Dian Divine Mirror and is not afraid of true Lord Datong, a real fight will definitely alarm the entire wild world. A single pull can move the whole body. If Milo, Tuoshan, and Huanglong all surround him, the fun will be great. Even if they win in the end, I'm afraid it will be a miserable victory. Moreover, the Manghuang realm is not an isolated existence. There is also the great Lord Kanyang peeping from the side. In addition, the Muluo realm is more powerful and has been keeping a close eye on the Manghuang realm. Su Junming didn't want to expose his strength when he was not strong enough to defeat all the powerful ones. If a revered master can teach a disciple as high as Taoist friend, he must be a powerful person from 3 mountains and 4 seas. Su Junming smiled calmly, with an unpredictable and profound look that made it difficult for true Lord Datong to guess. Empiricism kills people, and so does the true monarch of Datong at this moment. I wonder where my master is. Can my fellow Taoist recommend me? My master is no longer in Manghuang. I'm afraid I'll disappoint the true Lord. Hearing this, true Lord Datong was disappointed, but not surprised. He left Su Junming here for more than a dozen yuanhui. If his master was still in Manghuang, he would have come to visit him long ago. Even if you travel abroad, you still have enough time to get back. But it has not arrived yet, which can only mean that the other party has already returned to the mountains and seas, separated by infinite galaxies and vastness, making it difficult to return. He took a breath and calmed down. I heard from my disciple that fellow Taoist has the ability to refine the 6 restricted top-grade Hongmeng Lingbao. Su Junming knew that the disciple he was talking about was Sun Ruyun, the supreme elder of Jibao sect, true Lord Xianchuang. He refined more than a dozen mid-grade Hongmeng Lingbao for the treasure judging section. Of course, his level could not be concealed from true Lord Datong, who stood behind the treasure judging sect. It was just a fluke. Fellow Taoist is too modest. All success is not a fluke. After taking a deep look at Su Junming, he waved his sleeves and 3 spiritual lights flew over. He reached out and took it. One is 9 feet long and 3 feet in diameter. It has strong evil energy, steaming dragon energy, and is a black vertebrae. A large cauldron with an unusual simplicity, a mountain-shaped cover, and a powerful aura, but it looked ugly because of a crack. It was the Supreme Dragon Bone and Wushen Si2 Ding that he bought at the previous auction. But the last one is an exception. From the outside, it looks like a piece of sun-dried hawthorn. The skin is wrinkled and uneven. Coupled with the purple appearance, it looks a bit ugly. But when you hold it in your hand, you can smell a hint of elegant fruity fragrance. And judging from the aura, it seems to be very different from the Supreme Dragon Bone and Wushen Si2 Ding. They are obviously high-grade Hongmeng level spiritual objects. I don't know the name of this spiritual fruit, but its value is no less than the dragon bone and the cauldron. I got it by chance in the Netherworld Sea. Netherworld Sea, Endless Sea, Tianya Sea, Kangxu Sea. Each world has its mysteries. Taking the Netherworld Sea as an example, the vastness is the next best thing. According to rumors, the Netherworld Sea has become a good place for countless monks to retreat to death because of its unique environment. The laws of heaven and earth are much clearer than the other 3 seas, and its abundant spiritual energy. Unfortunately, there are very few who truly break through and reach the next level. After most of them failed, they followed their caves and sank into the depths of the Netherworld Sea. It should be noted that every high-level monk's collection is a huge treasure for low-level monks, or even monks of the same level. Therefore, countless monks went deep into the Nether Sea with the intention of hunting for treasure. Unfortunately, the sea area is vast, and the depths of the Netherworld Sea are full of dangers. There are very few people who actually find the monk's cave and make a fortune. But every Yuanhui will have a few lucky ones. Therefore, there are always adventurers entering and exiting the Nether Sea in search of treasure. Now it seems that true monarch Datong is also such a lucky person. True Lord is really lucky to be able to achieve such a great harvest in a dangerous place like the Netherworld Sea. It's a bit of luck. Thinking of the hardships and dangers back then, Datong Zhenjun also felt a little more frightened in his eyes. He shook his head slightly and suppressed the unnecessary thoughts in his heart. Fellow Taoist Su, if I give you a high-grade Hongmeng spiritual material, I wonder if you can refine a high-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure. There's hope, but it's not guaranteed to work. True Lord Datong's eyes lit up instantly. He was most afraid of losing hope. How to say? Refining weapons is just like writing. The bigger the paper, the easier it is to draw. So, if Zhenjun provides enough spiritual materials, I can give it a try. After nearly 20 Yuanhui, with the help of Dian Divine Mirror and Xiao Chongshan Cave Heaven, Tiangong Taoist's Taoism has reached the peak of Great Master, and he just needs a high-grade Hongmeng spiritual material to break through. If the true monarch of Datong is willing to provide it, that would be great. After nodding his head in understanding, fellow Taoist Su, what do you think of this thing? The left palm is spread out, it is about the size of a basin, the whole is dark blue, with beautiful spiritual patterns on the surface, and the powerful earth charm spreads in all directions. Just by looking at it, it seems like a vast continent is coming towards you. Is this 11 soil? Sure enough, famous teachers give birth to great disciples, and they recognized my treasure at a glance. 11 soil is a sacred object of the earth. In the ancient times, Nuwo had some. But the aura is completely different from the one in front of me. It's a good opportunity for you. Zhenjun Su Junming's tone was filled with envy. He was so envious. This was the first time he had seen a high-grade Hongmeng level spiritual material. Although the opportunity is good, I still have to seek help from fellow Taoist. With a wave of his hand, Zhirang slowly flew towards Su Junming. The right palm spreads out to support the falling soil. The moment the two touched, a boundless pressure rolled in like a mountain or a sea. Fortunately, Su Junming came prepared, otherwise he would have been embarrassed just this time. Because of the powerful prohibition seal, it is difficult to see through the whole picture of this breath soil with only spiritual consciousness and naked eyes. But through the Dian divine mirror, one can clearly sense the overflowing, vast and boundless spiritual energy and Taoist charm of the earth. I hope fellow Taoist can train this thing into a spiritual treasure. I won't take any of the 3 spiritual things from before. All of them will be given to fellow Taoist as reward. How about setting it up? As expected, Su Junming thought to himself. As early as when he was invited into the Datong Divine Tower, but no one came for a long time, and he was not allowed to leave, he had already guessed the plan of the true Lord Datong. However, he was still quite surprised that the other party could produce a high-grade Hongmeng spiritual object. After all, this is a vast wilderness, not 3 mountains and 4 seas. True Lord, you should know that I have no experience in cultivating high-grade Hongmeng Lingbao, and I am not absolutely sure. Fellow Taoist, just do your best. Regardless of success or failure, the 3 treasures will be given to you. Compared with Su Junming, he hoped that the master hidden behind him would come forward to help him refine the treasure, but he had no choice but to wait for more than a dozen Yuanhui and still didn't find him. Seeing that the situation in the wilderness world and the entire southern wilderness was gradually showing signs of instability, he no longer wanted to wait any longer. I can only choose to believe Su Junming and make a last-ditch effort. Looking at the sincere face of true monarch Datong, and then at the Hongmeng breathing soil in his hand, Su Jun knew clearly that, despite what the other party said, he would really destroy the breathing soil. True Lord Datong will never give up. Since Zhenjun believes in Su so much, I will take over the matter. Thank you, fellow Taoist. The true monarch of Datong bowed and saluted, with a happy face. There is one more thing, fellow Taoist, please forgive me. This top-grade Hongmeng breathing soil was obtained by me through endless hard work. I love it more than life. To ensure safety, I can only leave my fellow Taoist to practice this treasure in my Datong Divine Tower. It's understandable that spiritual materials are precious. However, it is extremely difficult to practice this breath soil. In addition, Su has no previous experience, so it will take a lot of time. This is understandable, but I don't know how long it will take. I don't know either. After all, Su has never practiced a high-grade Hongmeng Lingbao, so I can only make an estimate. He pondered for a moment, 10 Yuanhui, maybe, it may be longer. For the great masters who are in seclusion and often have more than a dozen Yuanhui, 10 Yuanhui is not very long, but it is not short either. In that case, I leave everything to you, fellow Taoist. It's a fair deal between me and the true Lord, so there's no need to say thank you. Fellow Taoist Su, you are polite. I promise that in the future, when the great treasure is refined, I will give you another important treasure as a gift. Haha, then I have to practice this breath soil well. In this case, I will not disturb you anymore. If my fellow Taoist needs anything, just ring the calling God bell, and I will come here as soon as possible. Easy to say. After leaving behind the method to remove the seal of 11 soil, true Lord Datong turned around and left. Su Junming put away the treasures, leaving only the soil in front of his knees, sitting cross-legged, quietly feeling the rich Taoist charm in it. Of course, this is just an illusion. In the Danshan, the aura projected by the Dian Divine Mirror is superb. This top-notch Hongmeng spiritual treasure with 12 spiritual taboos is like a supreme emperor. Its powerful power is like 3,000 avenues high above, spanning the boundless Hongmeng chaos. Even if it was just a projection, it perfectly shielded Su Junming's aura, making it difficult for true Lord Daitong to see through the fact that he was just a Dharma body. Soon, the Supreme Dragon Bone, Wu Shen Si2 Cauldron, and the mysterious high-grade spiritual fruit flew into the mirror and disappeared. At the same time, in the Danshan of Su Junming, who was still cultivating in the inner cave of Kongshanju, 3 spiritual objects flew out of the Dian Divine Mirror. The tyrannical restrictions of the Daitong Divine Tower are useless in front of the Dian Divine Mirror. Su Junming participates in the cultivation of the soul, and multitasking is the most basic operation. After looking at Nuwa, who was still in his arms, with their bodies connected, their breaths blending, and practicing quietly, her heart moved, and the 3 spiritual treasures were transferred to the hands of the time-past body. The 3 Dharma bodies of time are past, present, and future. Except that he is now in the true world of Chongshan, the past and future remain in the wilderness. The past body stayed outside to deal with daily life, the future body went to Daitong Fang, and now is left in the Daitong Tower to refine treasures. He spread his hands and looked at the 3 treasures in his hands. Taking a step forward, I arrived at an inexplicable space in the middle of Chongshan Mountain. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1271. Chapter 1247 Hongmeng transforms the thunder god Gasong. The dark space with twinkling stars seemed like a vast and mysterious universe. In this huge space, an extremely huge dragon head, like a giant dragon head of the real world, floats quietly in it. The flesh and blood of this dragon bone has long since disappeared, because of the unimaginable and tyrannical evil spirit that turned the jade-like dragon bone into a blue-black color. Su Junming raised his hand, and a black mysterious light shot up into the sky, expanding at an astonishing speed. It covered hundreds of millions of kilometers in the blink of an eye, like a huge black mountain that stretched across the sky and topped the universe crawling on the earth. The moment this spine appeared, the blue-black dragon skull instantly felt something. The vast dragon energy is mixed with the sticky evil spirit, like a volcano erupting, reaching straight into the sky of the universe. The earth-shattering roar of the dragon shook Su Junming's eardrums from an infinite distance away. Boom! With an earth-shattering impact, the dragon's skull and spine came together. In an instant, the already astonishing dragon energy and evil energy increased steadily, becoming hundreds of times stronger. Su Junming waved his sleeves, and a thick space barrier isolated himself. But it was still unavoidable that the tyrannical aura caused the collision of the space barrier to tremble. Fortunately, in the inner cave of Chongshan residence, there are Calabash Vine and Baiun Mystic Willow, 2 middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual roots, Kingli, Kongqing Shenzi, Hanyuling Mulberry, 7 low-grade Hongmeng spiritual roots to suppress them, plus when I went to the Dian Divine Mirror, the space here was broken by the evil spirit of the dragon bone. The evil energy of the dragon bones after hundreds of millions of years is still so amazing. I really don't know what kind of strong man this Tianlong was when he was at his peak, Su Junming was amazed in his heart. The more you get to know each other, the more surprised you are by the Supreme's tyranny. Completely beyond the limits of what he could imagine. After taking a deep breath to calm down the shock in his heart, he looked into the distance like a celestial river, running through the universe. The skull and spine are already complete. If I can get more ribs and leg bones, when I break through to the Supreme Realm in time, I might be able to restore the complete dragon corpse. However, this kind of thing is destined not to be completed in a short time. Su Junming has no intention of doing it in a hurry, but just regards it as a little fun on his own cultivation path. After placing the keel, I looked at the Wushan Sidu cauldron. Like the keel, there was no hope of repairing it in a short time. With a casual throw, as the seal was released, the cauldron expanded rapidly, becoming billions of meters tall in the blink of an eye. Although it is not as huge as the keel, it is still a giant. Standing there, like a vicissitudes of giant, silent, heavy, and majestic. Finally, there is the spiritual fruit given by true Lord Datang. Too long has passed, and although most of the medicinal power has been preserved due to the seal, this spiritual fruit has dried up. The rich pulp has turned into a dark purple crust. Su Junming stretched out his hand, and a white light shone on his fingertips. Return to the light. The moment the spiritual light touched the dried fruit, it seemed as if an infinite inspiration had been triggered. The light surged, and in the blink of an eye it became the size of a water tank. It was red in color, with bright purple spiritual patterns flashing on its surface, and an olive-shaped spiritual fruit. The thunderous rhyme is so frightening. The moment the spirit fruit took shape, the light was still expanding. Gradually, the branches take shape, and the leaves are densely packed like lightning. Finally, the projection of a high-grade Hongmeng spiritual root that was as tall as a pine tree appeared in front of him. Is this what you look like? There was a touch of fire in Su Junming's eyes. Apart from the chaos green lotus in the hands of Taoist Tiangong, this was the second high-grade Hongmeng spiritual root he had seen. Hongmeng transforms the thunder god Ancient Pine. 8 spiritual patterns with the rhyme of thunder manifested in Su Junming's heart. So this is your name. After admiring it for a moment, my heart moved. The image of the thunder god Ancient Pine slowly dissipated, and once again turned into the purple-red dried hard spiritual fruit the size of a wash basin. Reflection is a spell he learned with the help of time and destiny. With the help of a ray of breath, you can show the other party's full picture and get some information related to it, which is very magical. I did get a lot of useful information from this use. He held the dry hard spirit fruit in his hand and played with it for a moment. With a thought in his heart, layers of seals were generated, and soon all its energy was completely sealed. After more than a dozen yuanhui, my 3 paths of time, space, and soul, as well as the 9 paths of yin and yang, 5 elements, etc. practiced by the Dragon Emperor, have gradually approached the peak of the Great Master. I can only wait for my cultivation to break into the realm of the Great Master in the future. Daoxing breaks into the Supreme Realm, and these treasures can be used. Thinking of this, a strong expectation rose from the bottom of my heart. The gradual accumulation of resources made him more confident in the future. The opportunity of true monarch Datang is really enviable. Counting the Hongmeng breathing land, there are 4 top-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects. Moreover, the exercises he practiced have also reached the supreme level, barely counting 5. In comparison, Milo, Huanglong, and Tuoshan are much different. Through the Dian Divine Mirror, he did not find high-grade Hongmen-level spiritual objects on the 3 following people. Spiritual objects of this level would be worn on the person for safety, unless they really didn't exist. I think of the words of true monarch Datang. Netherworld Sea. There was a hint of yearning in his eyes. Although the place is extremely dangerous, it contains countless treasures. A sudden touch interrupted Su Junming's reverie. After coming back to his senses, he took a step forward and instantly reached the top floor of Chongshan building in Kongshanfang. With a wave of his sleeves, the restriction was released. Come in. 9 people, Yang Mei, Zhang Shinian, Feng Zanjian, Zhen Yuanzi, Su Huang, Zhang Sanfan, Qiao Shaoxin, Su Heshu, and Qi Yu, came in. As the second-generation disciples of Chongshan have broken through the Hongmeng realm, more and more disciples have moved from the true world of Chongshan to the great realm of Manghuang to practice. Teacher. All the disciples bowed and saluted. After nodding slightly. No need to be polite, just sit down. After saying thanks, all the disciples sat down one by one. Qiao Shaoxin sat at the front. He is the 3rd disciple accepted by Su Junming. In the absence of Qin Zhong and Lin Zhenying, she is the leader among the disciples. Come here, do you have something important to do? That's right, Qiao Shaoxin continued. The disciples discovered that the Diamond Sect, Xianfeng Sect, Nine-Tailed Fox Clan, Chixin Chunyang sect and Swanyan ghost sect are ready to invade our Chongshan. There are also immortal clans hiding behind the scenes, they want to jointly attack me. How to deal with it is up to my mentor to decide. More than a dozen yuan we have been held, but I didn't expect these sects to still give up, Su Junming said calmly. What the teacher doesn't know is that for the past dozen or so yuan hui, Nagarjuna, the master of the Vajra sect, has been integrating the 5 sections. However, due to the lack of overwhelming strength, it has been difficult to do his best. This time, I plan to attack Chongshan. External forces eliminate internal conflicts and promote the union of the 5 factions at the same time. In addition, the secret support of the Immortal Clan is also an opportunity for them to take action, Yang Mei said. I see. Now that all these clowns have jumped out, there's no need for us to be polite. After cleaning them all, we can contribute to the growth of our mountain. The disciples looked excited. There is a limit to the amount of deities that Chongshan Dazu can carry, not counting Su Junming, the teacher who can communicate with chaos and does not occupy Dazu's spiritual energy, and Nuwa and the others. Su Huang and others have to use the spiritual energy of Chongshan Dazu to practice. As for Chongshan Dazu, even with the blessing of Su Junming's spirit gathering array, it is already at its limit to support the 9 supreme beings and countless monks, big and small. If you want to bring the subsequent Chongshan disciples here, you must expand your territory. A large enough world can hold enough monks. Big water means big fish. Qiao Shaoxin, Yang Mei, Zhen Yuanzi, Feng Zanjian, the Immortal Clan is entrusted to you. Su Huang, Su Heshu, Zhang Shinian, Qiyu, Zhang Sanfan, the 5 factions alliance is entrusted to you. You don't need to wait for them to attack my Chongshan mountain. They come directly to our door, sweep away the ugly people, and strengthen our Chongshan state. Disciple, please obey. Originally, Su Junming did not plan to rapidly expand the Chongshan state, fearing that it would attract the covetousness of the 4 great masters. However, Datong Fang and his party discovered this after observing the words and deeds of Datong, Maluo, Tuoshan, Huanglong, and some senior sects in the 4 major divine states. They don't care at all about places outside the 4 major Chinese states. To them, it is like the difference between urban and rural areas in China in the 1980s. No one cares about what happens in those remote places unless they have a personal stake in it. Therefore, Su Junming also changed his original strategy. However, even if you don't care, there is a limit. Once the Immortal Clan and the 5 factions alliance are destroyed, Kongshan's strength will become the number 1 among the 3,000 sects. The various factions were in awe and would not come to provoke him without opening their eyes. At that time, Chongshan can calm down, do more internal work, and wait for the great changes in the wilderness to come. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1272. The main hall of the Vajra sect. Wearing a yellow monk's robe, with long eyebrows hanging down to his shoulders, and a face as rosy as a baby's, monk Nagarjuna sat high up, and sitting with him was a young man wearing a white robe, with a face like a crown of jade. Below the 2 of them, there were 8 other monks whose auras seemed to be different from each other and who were all members of the Great Master. Looking around at the crowd, monk Nagarjuna said loudly, "Let me introduce to you, the person next to me is Taoist fellow Yu Changfeng, the elder of the Immortal Clan, Fire Dragon Supreme Master. Fellow Taoist Yu Changfeng is very powerful. Back then, in Kanjiun Dazu, he fought with the Supreme Elder of Lingkong Immortal Sect. Fuyunzi the war lasted for 3,000 years, with no winner or loser, and his reputation was astonishing throughout the world. Fellow Taoist Nagarjuna's wonderful praises are all a matter of the past." Although he said this, the complacency on Yu Changfeng's face was obvious. Everyone around looked at it with different expressions, but they all realized that something big would happen at today's gathering. A few days ago, we jointly decided to unite the 5 sects to wipe out Chongshan Academy and eliminate the enemy beside this bed. Coincidentally, the Immortal Clan also has conflicts with Chongshan and wants to eliminate it. Upon hearing this, the practitioners instantly understood. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Therefore, as the leader of the 5 sects, I intend to join forces with the Immortals to jointly wipe out Chongshan Academy. I believe that with the strength of our two families, even if Chongshan Academy is somewhat hidden, it will definitely, like the fallen leaves swept away by the autumn wind, they were flattened in one fell swoop. Monk Nagarjuna was in high spirits, as if he saw himself in charge of the 5 continents, alongside the 12 supreme sects, enjoying the reverence and envy of countless monks in the wild world. An old face was red, and the smile on the corner of his mouth could not be suppressed. Yu Changfeng saw it, and a look of disdain flashed through his eyes. However, Chongshan is powerful, and although the Immortal Clan is strong, if they want to swallow it all without foreign aid, they will suffer heavy losses. So even if he despised this dirty old monk, he still had to hold his nose and cooperate with him. After a slight cough, what Taoist fellow Nagarjuna said is true. The Immortal Clan and the 5 sects will definitely be able to sweep through Chongshan and solve this enemy who has a deep hatred for you and me. The tone is impassioned and inspiring. However, the great masters below are not fools who don't understand. If they hadn't really faced the threat from Chongshan, they wouldn't have formed any 5-sect alliance. Our 5-sect alliance and Chongshan Academy are hostile to each other. It is because of their aggressive nature and they want to devour our 5 sections, and the Immortal Clan is far away in Juxiao. Why has it also formed a big feud with Chongshan Academy? The middle-aged Taoist priest, wearing a red robe and exuding a yang-yang aura, asked. The rest of the people looked towards Yu Changfeng. If you don't understand this issue clearly, who would dare to cooperate with you? What if someone gets stabbed in the back? Looking around at the concerned eyes of everyone, Yu Changfeng took a breath and organized his words. Everyone knows that Yu Chang'an, the leader of the Immortal Clan, is close friends with Sima Fan, the head of the Kinglan sect. Many people nodded. Our sects are not far away, so of course we know this kind of thing. Moreover, Sima Fan used the skin of the Immortal Clan to intimidate them from the Xianfeng sect, the Vajra sect, and the Nine-Tailed Fox clan for more than a day or two. Kinglan sect Sima Fan and Supreme Elder Zhao Yuankaiu, before attacking Chongshan Academy, used the treasures hidden in Chongshan Academy as a guide and asked Yu Chang'an, the leader of the Immortal Clan, to give them a helping hand. Yu Chang'an originally thought that Su Junming, even with some skills, could not stop the 3 of them from joining forces. Unexpectedly, Chongshan Academy hid 3 Hongmeng monks, as well as a middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure. Entering the enemy's formation, he fell into the mountains and the great state. Although my Immortal Clan took the initiative to initiate this matter, the clan leader was killed, but we cannot ignore it. Later, he took the initiative to come to Chongshan to negotiate, but was rudely rejected. Nearly 20 Yuan Hui came down, killing and injuring our Immortal even more. There are millions of disciples in the clan. Now the 2 sides have become unrepentant enemies. There was a pause. I wonder if all fellow Taoists are satisfied with this answer. The cultivators nodded and looked at Yu Changfeng with a bit of gloating expression. As the second largest clan in the wilderness, the Immortal Clan has always had a poor reputation. Arrogant and bully. Those small and medium-sized sects that are not as powerful as them often break their teeth and swallow them in order to preserve themselves. But apparently Chongshan Academy did not take into account their bad habits and directly killed Yu Chang'an. Such an action naturally angered everyone in the Immortal Clan. If they weren't concerned about Kongshan's strength, they would have sent all their troops to destroy Chongshan long ago. Therefore, everyone was quite happy to see the always arrogant Fairy Clan being defeated. This feeling is like a mortal hating the rich, which is quite satisfying occasionally. A little impatience will mess up a big plan. Let these bastards be happy for a while, and then take care of them after Chongshan is destroyed. Realizing the ridicule in everyone's eyes, Yu Changfeng secretly warned himself while holding his breath. Seeing the forced smile on Yu Chang'an's face, the cultivators felt more and more happy. Ahem. Monk Nagarjuna broke the awkward atmosphere around him. Although he is also willing to see Yu Changfeng suffer, everyone has to cooperate after all, and it is not good for both parties if the relationship is too tense. You must have all heard the explanation of fellow Taoist Jade. Regarding the matter of Chongshan, for both of us, cooperation will benefit both sides, and separation will cause two harms. Everyone is not a fool, and we all understand this. Moreover, after nearly 20 Yuanhui, Chongshan Academy has digested the two major states of Xiang and Qinglin. As expected, the next step will be their expansion. If we don't strike first, everyone will suffer. There is no problem with cooperation, but I don't know how to cooperate. The ghostly figure asked in an indifferent tone. It's very simple. The alliance of the five sects will take the great state of Chongshan, while our immortal clan will take the various treasures accumulated by Chongshan Academy. In addition, you and I can each take a share of the collection and inheritance of Chongshan Academy. The cultivators began to think subconsciously. Although it is a pity to lose Kongshan's accumulation, the territory of the two big states is equally valuable. If it is in your hands, it will broaden the living space for the sect. More disciples and more sect luck mean that you can go further. I have no interest in Kongshan's territory. The ghostly figure said calmly. The monks in Swanyan Ghost sect are all ghosts. Although they have practiced for many years and their bodies are extremely strong, their essence is still ghosts that can transform between reality and reality. So they don't have to think about those spiritual beings with strong chi and blood who have to live on the surface. The vast underground space is their training place. Therefore, he is not interested in the great state of Chongshan, but is interested in the treasures of Chongshan. Yu Changfeng had obviously done enough homework and knew the Swanyan Ghost sect, which had many ghost clans, very well. In this case, after conquering Chongshan Academy, all the treasures and Swanyan attributes will be obtained by Taoist friends. Finally, I will give you a low-grade Hongmeng spiritual root. But the Jianmu sacred tree of Qinglin sect, the ghostly figure's tone suddenly became urgent. Yu Changfeng smiled lightly, of course. Okay, I agree. As a neighbor of the Qinglin sect, he is very aware of the power of the Jianmu sacred tree. To put it bluntly, without this sacred tree, Qinglin sect would have been destroyed countless times. How could he not be happy when such an important treasure was handed over to him? The others were also a little jealous. But they want territory more than Lingbao. Moreover, the immortal clan will not agree to share the benefits anymore. The benefits have been distributed. Let's talk about the people involved. We, the King Kong sect, the Xianfeng sect, the Red Heart Chunyang sect, the Nine-Tailed Fox clan and the Swanyan Ghost sect, all 7 Hongmeng masters are dispatched. As for the Hunyuan disciples, wait until we have cleared the upper levels of Chongshan Mountain before we let them take action. It's not too late, Monk Nagarjuna said. Yu Changfeng nodded and said, I have 5 superiors from the immortal clan. Now that Yu Chang'an has died, the remaining 4 superiors, including me, will all participate in this battle. In addition, in order to avoid mutual disunity and internal friction, there will be no general manager in this alliance. Our immortal clan will attack the east, and the alliance of 5 factions will attack the west, and finally we will meet at Kongshanfang. After a pause, he looked around at everyone with deep eyes. I don't know about this strategy. What do you fellow Taoists think? The cultivators exchanged glances with each other, and Nagarjuna spoke quickly. Just follow what fellow Taoists said. After setting the time of action 300 years later, Yu Changfeng said goodbye and left. Monk Nagarjuna and others discussed it some more before saying goodbye and leaving. 300 years passed by in a flash. In the vast sea of clouds in the east of Chongshan State, a golden ship stood quietly. On the wide deck, soldiers wearing golden armor and strong auras stood majestic and held weapons in their hands. In the middle of the deck is the towering ship building. In the gorgeous hall at the top, 7 immortals wearing white robes with different auras sit cross-legged. The old man in the middle with white beard and hair has the most powerful aura. Changfeng, is there any news from the 5-sex alliance? Yu Changfeng shook his head, not yet. Great Elder, this time we will come out in full force, if anything happens. Nothing unexpected. The old man interrupted Yu Changfeng's words. Nearly 20 UN Hui's tests have been carried out. We all know that Chongshan Academy is extraordinary. If there is even the slightest contempt, this operation may fail. By then, even if 1 or 2 supreme beings are left in the immortal clan's spiritual realm, it won't help anything big. It's better to just throw everything in now. If you succeed, you will get back the Lingxiu divine sword and a treasure from Chongshan. If you fail, the immortal clan's hundreds of millions of years of foundation will be ruined, and there is no other way to choose. Or we can retreat now, seal off the spiritual realm of the immortals, or even leave the wild world to avoid disaster. The old man's categorical words made the cultivators become silent. Things have developed to this point, and they have been locked in a fight with Chongshan for a long time. How can they retreat safely? Unless, as the great elder said, we directly exit the wild world. Otherwise, the Chongshan Academy that wiped out the 5-sex alliance could also wipe out the immortal clan. Great Elder, give the order. There is no retreat in this battle. We, the immortal clan, will never withdraw our troops until Chongshan Academy is defeated. A ferocious scarred face shone with a menacing light. Soon, another figure stood up with a long sword on his back. Please give the order to the great elder. Yu Changfeng is willing to risk his life for the inheritance of our immortal clan. Looking at the solemn faces, the old man stood up happily, and the smile on his face gradually turned into a cold and solemn look. In this battle, Chongshan will be destroyed. This battle will destroy Chongshan. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1273. Just when the cultivators were immersed in a solemn, and heroic atmosphere, an inappropriate voice sounded in their ears. You idiots, like you want to destroy our Chongshan Academy. Who, come out. The scar-faced man with a fiery personality roared angrily. Haha, I can't even find Pandeo anywhere. I really don't know where you get your confidence. As soon as the words fell, all the immortal monks felt an earth-shattering magic power, as if an ancient giant mountain fell from the sky and hit the big ship. Not good. The expressions of all the immortals changed greatly. He shouted loudly and activated his magic power at the same time. Endless golden auras soared into the sky from the big ship. Boom. The loud noise was like splitting the earth and splitting the sky, shaking hundreds of millions of miles around. The powerful shock wave, like a level 12 storm, tore all the clouds into powder. The sea of clouds that was originally vast and thick suddenly became emptied out. Walk. At the greeting of the great elder of the immortal clan, the cultivators flew out and came to the outside of the immortal ship to look into the sky. Being torn apart by magic power, in a void the size of the Hunyuan world, there stood 4 people with different appearances, but their auras were either ethereal, thick, compassionate, or sharp, but they were all extremely powerful beings. Seeing them, the expressions of everyone in the immortal clan changed. The 4 monks are all in the late stage of Hongmeng Shangzun. In contrast, there are only 2 of them in the later stage of the Supreme Being, one of whom is Yu Lingxiao, the great elder who has reached the perfect state of the Supreme Being of Hongmeng. Sweeping the gourd on Si Xiu's waist, Yu Lingxiao's heart became heavier and heavier. I knew that Chongshan Academy had hidden power, but I didn't expect that the power hidden behind it would be so powerful. Although the quantity of the four superiors is not as good as ours, their quality is much higher. Things have come to this point and there is no way to go back. After taking a deep breath to calm down his unnecessary thoughts, Hong said loudly. I, the great elder of the immortal clan, Yu Lingxiao, don't you know that all of you across from me are disciples of Chongshan? The direct disciples of Chongshan, Qiao Shaoxin, Yang Mei, Zhen Yuanzi, and Feng Zhenjian, have been waiting here for a long time to welcome fellow Taoists from the immortal clan. You knew we were coming. Yu Lingxiao's eyes narrowed slightly, and there was a hint of murderous intent in his tone. Qiao Shaoxin smiled lightly. As the senior sister of a second-generation disciple of Chongshan, she is the most senior here and is naturally the undisputed host. Of course. However, it's not that my fellow Taoists think that someone in the Five-Sex Alliance has leaked your plan. It's that I, Chongshan, have my own magical powers. How could I be attacked by you as you wish? This answer is somewhat unexpected. In fact, Chongshan could take this opportunity to drive a wedge between the Five-Sex Alliance and the Immortal Clan, and defeat them one by one. It seems that some of you are very confident that you can beat us. Smile calmly. As my junior brother Zhen Yuan said, you and others are just chickens and dogs. How difficult is it to capture you? It is not worthy of our senior brothers and sisters' intrigues. As soon as these words came out, not to mention the immortals who always thought highly of themselves, even the good-tempered people were pissed off. What else can the great elder say? Let these arrogant bastards have a taste of the power of my immortal clan. After the scar-faced strong man finished speaking, he spread his right hand, and a red broadsword emerged. As soon as the magic power was activated, the aura of the broadsword surged, and the mighty sword energy was like a giant pillar reaching the sky, overwhelming the sky and killing the people ahead. At the same time, the young man with the sword on his back opened his forehead, shining bright light directly on the bullfighting. Choke, in the sound of King Yu's sword, the long sword behind him soared into the sky, and the light between his eyebrows merged and instantly turned into a bright blue sharp sword energy. This sword energy is like a dragon and a snake, circling forward with extremely fast speed. The two sword lights, one yin and one yang, one soft and one domineering, cooperate with each other, and the power is increased by more than 10 times. It was obvious that although the immortal clan superiors were angry, they had not lost their minds. Junior sister Feng, I'll leave these two to you. Qiao Shaoxin assigned tasks. Feng Zhenjian looked at the two people who were attacking, and the fighting spirit in Feng Zhenjian's eyes gradually became stronger. After surrendering to Sima Fan, nearly 20 Yuan Hui came down. She has been practicing hard with the help of Dian Divine Mirror Projection and Xiaochong Mountain Cave Heaven. Now, her Taoism of the Way of Wind has reached the peak of the Supreme Being, and with the help of the Tao of Time and the spiritual elixir given by her teacher, her magic power has also advanced to the late stage of the Supreme Being. Compared to back then, it was a completely different level. Now it's time to hone your skills with these two people. After nodding towards Qiao Shaoxin, he waved his slender hand, and a large navy blue flag that was 3 feet high and decorated with countless spiritual patterns appeared. Driven by mana, a rolling hurricane rises in mighty force. The sharp storm tornado rolled from the sky to the ground, stretching thousands of feet across. Wherever it passed, the space was also broken by the sharp wind knife, leaving behind a series of dark cracks. The huge movement instantly attracted the attention of both parties. Yu Lingxiao saw it in his eyes, his eyebrows pounding. Although the power of one's own two swords combined is astonishing, the opponent's wind pillar is even stronger. Moreover, the spirit flag entwined with the powerful wind charm is so powerful that it has reached the peak of the low-grade Hongmeng spirit treasure. This means that although the opponent's magic power is only in the late stage of the Supreme Being, his understanding of the way of wind has reached the peak of the Supreme Being. A higher level of Taoism means that only a small amount of mana can be used to produce more powerful Taoism. Changhong, the enemy's cultivation level is too high. She may not be her opponent with just the power of Changshan and the long sword. Go and help them. The only woman among the 7 immortals flew out. With both hands making a secret, a water blue circle flew down from the Snow White How's wrist. With the sound of surging water, it was as fast as lightning and hit Feng Zhanjiun directly. Junior brother Zhen Yuanzi, I will give this girl to you. If anyone else takes action, I will give it to you as well. Haha, I haven't done anything for many years, and I don't know how powerful my old arms and legs still are. While speaking, there was no gesture at all, and his figure had already jumped out of the formation. He opened his 5 fingers and grasped the aqua blue circle from afar. In an instant, an invisible force enveloped him. The blue steel ring, which was originally as fast as lightning and as heavy as a mountain, was like a mud cow entering the sea, and it was difficult to move. Yu Changhong frowned. She repeatedly urged the spirit treasure, but the strange power was as thick as the earth. No matter how hard she tried, she could not take back the treasure. Suddenly, an astonishing rainbow light flashed past. Boom! Accompanied by the loud noise, a strong earthy rhyme spread, and the fixed blue steel ring passed through a series of after-images and flew into Yu Changhong's hands. Thank you, Great Elder. The divine eye on Yu Lingxiao's forehead slowly closed. After waving his hands, he looked at the middle-aged monk in the distance who was wearing a yellow Bagua Taoist robe, a hibiscus crown on his head, a bamboo staff in his hand, and 3 strands of long beard on his chin. He looked like a fairy and had a serious look. There are monks who have become enlightened by the way of the earth in the wild world, but they are very few. There are even fewer people who can understand the way of the earth to the realm of the great master. But the one in front of me did it. Without spiritual treasures, Yu Changhong's blue rainbow spiritual circle can be suppressed with only magic power and Taoism. If he is not too advanced in Taoism, he will never be able to do it. Chang Kong, Yu and Changhong take action together to deal with this person. A tall and thin middle-aged man nodded respectfully. Although the two of them joined forces, they didn't have much confidence after the previous scene. You don't need to demand victory, just contain the opponent. Yu Changhong and Yu Changkong were relieved. Chang Jiao, Chang Ling. A tall, middle-aged man with a jade-like face but long silver hair, and a burly, imposing young man, bowed forward. You two come forward and restrain that Yang Mei. Remember, you don't seek merit, but you seek no faults. Ever since the Qinglan sect was destroyed, Yang Mei had appeared in front of monk Mang Huang. He was in charge of nearly 20 Yuanhui in the southern border of Chongshan, and he captured 7 monks of Shangzhen who were causing trouble in the southern border of Chongshan. With his own power, countless sects and clans did not dare to lightly pick up the tiger's beard in Chongshan. A master of space magic and powerful. He even earned the title of Hutian Zhenjun. Although Yu Changjiao's strength has reached the late stage of Shangzhen, Yu Lingxiao doesn't feel that he has much chance of winning despite the cooperation of Yu Changling in the middle stage of Shangzhen. But only by restraining the strongest of the 4 cultivators in Chongshan, could he have a chance to capture or kill the green-robed woman who specialized in cultivating the Dao of creation, and then defeat each of them. Yu Changjiao and Yu Changling nodded solemnly. Long before they came, the great masters that Chongshan had exposed to the public, Yang Mei, Zhang Shinian, and Feng Zhanjiun, had been studied by them for many years. Therefore, they are very aware of the strength of Hutian Zhenjun Yang Mei. If you fight, you will definitely not be able to defeat him. Being able to contain him is victory. Senior sister, it seems that Yu Lingxiao wants to deal with you first. Looking back, he can then concentrate his efforts to remove the 3 of us. In that case, let him leave it to me. I haven't done anything for many years, so I just want to take this opportunity to accumulate some experience, Jiao Shaoxin said. Seeing her calm expression, Yang Mei smiled and nodded. This third senior sister majored in the Tao of creation and was always kind to others. It was rare to see her take action. But as fellow disciples, they both have the projection of the Dian divine mirror in their Danshan, so they know each other's cultivation level very well. Yu Lingxiao treated her like a soft persimmon, fearing that she would be beaten all over her head. Then let me first congratulate senior sister on her success. Jiao Shaoxin smiled. Go quickly. The sooner you complete the teacher's instructions, the sooner you can invite my Chongshan disciples to come here to practice. Haha, what senior sister taught me is that Yang Mei should go. As soon as he took a step, there was no movement. He was already thousands of feet away. With a flick of the finger, layers of space were created. Before Yu Changjiao and Yu Changling could recover, they were enveloped by a powerful space barrier and disappeared from everyone's eyes. Yu Lingxiao saw this and frowned. Resisting the thought of helping, he looked at the green-robed woman who was thousands of feet away and attacked like lightning. He knew very well that if he wanted to win this battle, he had to defeat them one by one. Therefore, he used all his strength as soon as he came up. The vast magic power rushed straight into the sky, and the strong murderous aura penetrated into the heart. But for a moment, the sea of clouds here was already enveloped by the battle. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1274. Just when Jiao Shaoxin, Yang Mei and others were fighting with the seventh supreme lord of the immortal clan, far away in the sea of clouds to the west of Chongshan State, Su Huang, Su Heshu, Zhang Sanfan, Zhang Shinian, and Qi Yu also blocked the five-sex alliance. Compared with Jiao Shaoxin, Yang Mei, Zhen Yuanzi, and Feng Zhanjian, Su Heshu and Qi Yu were inferior in cultivation because they had been in the wild world for a short time, and were now only in the middle stage of the Supreme Master. However, compared to them, the cultivation levels of the seven superiors from the five sect alliances opposite were not much higher. Except for monk Nagarjuna, one person is at the peak of the Supreme Being. Among the remaining six cultivators, the Xianfeng sect's great sage Xianfeng and the nine-tailed fox clan's Linghu Empress are in the later stages of the Supreme Being. The remaining four cultivators, the Chixin Venerable of the Red Heart Chunyang sect, the Ghost Saint Lian Xing of the Xuanyan Ghost sect are in the middle stage of Shangzun, the early stage of the Supreme Being. This kind of strength is much weaker than the seventh Supreme Lord of the Immortal Clan. Moreover, compared to the seven immortals of the Immortal Clan, almost everyone has two Hongmeng spiritual treasures. Even the great elder Yu Lingxiao is in charge of the foundation of another mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure of the Immortal Clan, the Great Luo Divine Mirror. Among the seven cultivators of the five-sex alliance, monk Nagarjuna of the Vajra sect has two low-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasures, while the other six only have their own natal spiritual treasures. The strength is far inferior to that of the immortals. Junior brother Qi Yu, I will leave monk Ziyuan and venerable Xiang to you. Here, Su Huang has the highest seniority and is everyone's senior sister. She has the duty to take over the task of hosting the fight. You will definitely live up to your destiny. Due to years of practicing the Tao of creation, Qi Yu, who was revered as the ancestor of war in Chinese history, is now dressed in a moon-white robe, with a thin figure, a face like a crown of jade, and a smile that makes people feel close to him. No one would have thought that this man who looked like the best young master in troubled times was the Qi Yu who fought with the Yellow Emperor and was known as the three-headed, six-armed man with the head of an ox and the body of a bull. Junior brother Zhang, you major in the pure Yang Wei and can restrain the incorruptible behavior of the ghost saint, so I will leave him to you. Yes. Zhang Sanfan became a Taoist with pure Yang. After many years of practice, he has already become a master. Junior brother Su, you are the direct disciple of second junior uncle. The Tao of Yin and Yang is mutually reinforcing and restraining, so Venerable Chixin will entrust it to you. Su Heshu nodded. He studied under Renwuji and got the essence of his teachers Yin and Yang Tao. He was born to restrain all monks who practiced Yin and Yang Tao. Junior brother Zhang, I will leave the great sage Xianfeng and the nine-tailed demon fox to you. Zhang Shinian, Yang Mei and Feng Zanjian were the first three disciples to come to Mang Huang from Chongshan Great Realm. Now their cultivation has reached the late stage of Supreme Master. Although their understanding of King Mudeo has not broken through to Supreme Master like Yang Mei, they have also reached the level of Supreme Master. Once you have reached the perfection of the Aoki Way, you are only one step away from advancing. Combined with the spiritual treasure in hand, it is not difficult to subdue two monks of the same level. Sister, don't worry. Although these two demons are somewhat capable, they can't stop my magical power. On the contrary, monk Nagarjuna, with his peak cultivation level, is not easy to deal with. Su Huang smiled faintly, and her cool and pretty face suddenly seemed to be blooming with flowers, extremely beautiful. Junior brother, don't worry. If he has a middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao in his hand, I will still be wary. Now, there are pig and sheep ears waiting to be slaughtered. Haha, what senior sister Su said is true. When Su Huang was assigning tasks, tens of thousands of feet away, Monk Longshu and others had ugly expressions on their faces. They expected that Chongshan Academy must have hidden power, but they never expected that the other party's hidden strength would be so powerful. Except for the existence that we have known for a long time, called Zhang Shinian, who is respected as the Qing Emperor. The remaining four unfamiliar faces were two late-stage Supreme Beings and two mid-stage Supreme Beings. Although the numbers are not as good as our own, their strength is no less powerful. Nagarjuna, the immortals betrayed us. The great sage Xianfeng looked ugly. Monk Nagarjuna opened his mouth and looked a little ugly. He wanted to excuse the immortal clan, but if he hadn't known about it in advance, how could the Chongshan people have intercepted them accurately before they reached Chongshan state? Our whereabouts have been discovered by the other party. During the insurance period, we should retreat immediately, otherwise we will be attacked by Chongshan and the immortal clan, and the 5 sects of you and me will be destroyed, Venerable Chixin said in a solemn voice. Kixiu's heart trembled, and his face showed the intention to retreat. Nagarjuna saw this and understood that the battle he was preparing for a sneak attack was destined to fail. However, he had no intention of fighting to the death with Chongshan Academy. He just relied on the other party's pressure to promote the fusion of the Xianfeng sect, the Diamond sect, the Red Heart Chunyang sect, the Nine-Tailed Fox clan and the Swanyan Ghost sect. When I saw that the momentum was not right, I was not prepared to fight forcefully. But just when he was about to order a retreat, 5 figures in the distance suddenly disappeared. This change shocked Kixiu, who had been paying attention to them. Fortunately, they had practiced for many years and were well informed. Be careful with Hushan Taoism, monk Nagarjuna shouted sternly. Before the words were finished, 5 figures suddenly appeared 100 feet away from the 7 people, and their extremely sharp auras hit them like lightning. The blow to the elbow and armpit was too sudden. Although there was a reminder from Nagarjuna, the 7th cultivator had mixed reactions due to limitations of cultivation and spiritual treasures. Monk Nagarjuna, who had the highest level of cultivation, as well as Xianfeng Dashan and Linghu Empress, who were later masters, used spiritual treasures to protect their whole bodies in time. Venerable Chixin, Venerable Xiang, Gois Honglian Xing, and Monk Ziyuan were undoubtedly a little slower. What's even more fatal is that the 4th cultivator only has one natal spiritual treasure that reaches the level of Hongmeng spiritual treasure, and it is not a defensive spiritual treasure. It was attacked by Zhang Sanfan, Qiyu and Zhen Yuanzi. He was injured after just one encounter. Among them, Lord Xiang was the most unlucky. His natal spiritual treasure, the pure Yang sword, was powerful in attack but insufficient in protection. In addition, he was only in the early stage of the Supreme Being. As a result, he was seriously injured in a single encounter. Bang bang bang. With the sound of defeat, Longshu, Xianfeng, and Linghu were shot away far away like rubber balls. The 7 monks from the 5-sex alliance who were originally gathered together dispersed. After stabilizing his body, monk Nagarjuna quickly activated his magic power. Qingyun above his head enveloped the surrounding area, and a huge wooden fish bloomed with infinite Buddha light, protecting his whole body. At the same time, a long knife with a sharp aura appeared in the palm. It can be seen that this long knife was obtained separately, and its breath is different from that of the wooden fish. He had just set up his stance, but before he could make a move, a sky-blue rainbow with a width of several thousand feet came to his eyes like lightning, and hit the wooden fish Buddha's light as heavy as a mountain. Boom! Unimaginable huge force rolled in. The Buddha's light trembled violently, and the 1,000-foot wooden fish almost flew out. Monk Nagarjuna, who was not yet firmly on his feet, was knocked out again. Monk Nagarjuna, whose mana was surging in his danshan, saw himself being beaten one after another like a rubber ball. This was a naked humiliation for him, who was the leader of the 5-sex alliance and had a high spirit. "You bitch, you're looking for death." The face turned red and the extremely angry Nagarjuna suddenly activated his magic power and slashed out with the long knife in his hand. Next moment, the earth-shattering sword light was like a sky-shattering rainbow, cutting through the space and heading straight towards Su Huang. Shua! Suddenly, a magnificent blue aura rose into the sky, and the rich brilliance made Monk Nagarjuna's face turn green. In his solemn eyes, the azure light that looked like the Milky Way swept across the sky. The light of his own Arhat divine sword was like noodles, being swallowed directly by the spiritual light. What kind of spiritual treasure is this? It has such power. No one could answer him. Monk Nagarjuna didn't care about looking for the answer. The green aura was like a huge pillar that was struck down with great momentum. This wasn't the end yet. The blue aura he had seen before was winding and circling like a dragon and a snake. It was also flying towards him at extremely fast speeds. Before they even got close, a vast stream of water vapor was already rolling in. Not daring to neglect, he quickly activated the Arhat magic sword in his palm. Swish, 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 the continuous light of the sword was like the Yangtze River, covering the sky and the earth. The vast sword light surged and blocked all the forward paths of the 2 divine lights, green and blue. Although the sword light continued to be swallowed up, Monk Nagarjuna relied on his strong magic power to block the 2 divine lights, making it difficult for them to advance. Such a strong divine light, what kind of magical power is this? Monk Nagarjuna was shocked. 1 green, 1 blue, 2 rays of light, blooming with the extremely rich charm of the wind path and the water path respectively, and they are deep and far-reaching. Although they are only 10,000 feet long, they seem to contain this huge world. He has practiced nearly 10,000 yuan hui and has never seen such magical powers. Suddenly, warning signs rose in my heart. Before he could recover, a black space passage suddenly appeared behind him, with a snow-white spiritual light that froze his heart, like a sharp bayonet, thrust straight into Monk Nagarjuna's back. The tough and thick Buddha light instantly shattered and cracked under the ice and snow spiritual light. Because of his previous experience, Monk Nagarjuna was extremely wary of space Taoism and had long used his natal spiritual treasure to protect his whole body. But unfortunately, this ice and snow aura is not only strong, but also extremely sharp. The strong ice and snow charm brings powerful attack power. In just a few seconds, the Buddha's light shattered, and the ice and snow aura hit Monk Nagarjuna hard on the back. The powerful freezing power instantly invaded the heart, and the mana and soul became sluggish. Boom! A strange bell suddenly rang in my ears. The powerful soul, under the sound of the bell, melted instantly like the ice and snow under the bright sun. The mana in the danshan became scattered instantly without the control of the soul. The whole person became drowsy. I don't know how long it took before everything in front of me became clear. But a golden rope bound the whole body, and the magic power in the body seemed to disappear and could no longer be felt. It was as if a huge ancient mountain was pressing down on the soul, making it difficult to move at all. The Arhat magic sword and the Bodhi wooden fish, the natal spiritual treasure, were also missing. It has obviously become someone else's trophy. The sealed Nagarjuna looked ugly, and his long-cherished wish for many years was completely shattered. He looked at a beautiful woman a few feet away, dressed in white palace clothes, with green, blue, and white divine lights floating in the air behind her. Fellow Taoist, can you tell me your name? It will also let me know who I lost to. After thinking for a while. My name is Su Huang, my mentor has 5 disciples. Are you Su Zhenjun's disciple? Exactly. A look of shock appeared on Nagarjuna's face. It is normal for a great master to have disciples at the level of a superior, but it is surprising that a superior has disciples whose cultivation level is not much different from his own, and there are not even 1 or 2. However, it was a shock. Now I have become someone else's prisoner. I can't control my life or death. What's the use of knowing this? After taking a deep breath, what are you going to do with us? He knew that even if he was caught, Xianfeng, Linghu, Zhaoyuan and others would definitely not be able to escape. Don't worry, we, Chongshan Academy, are an authentic sect of a famous sect, and we will not kill in vain. But in the future, you, including your disciples, will not be able to stay in the wilderness. Hearing that he could survive, Longshu felt relieved, but the last sentence made his heart thump. Being driven into the Hongmeng universe and becoming a rootless Pingping means that all the thousands of dollars accumulated by the Vajra sect have been turned into a piece of cake. The price is too high. However, as a prisoner, he had no room for bargaining. Can I ask another question? You say. But the immortals betrayed us. Longshu's tone was filled with anger. If the immortal Yu Changfeng hadn't come to him and given him the courage to attack Chongshan, he would never have done it rashly. No. No. Su Huang smiled indifferently and nodded slightly. I believe you will see someone from the immortal clan soon. After a pause, he looked at monk Nagarjuna who looked disbelieving. You know nothing about the strength of our Chongshan Academy. As soon as he finished speaking, a small mountain covered with clouds and mist emerged from above his head, and a spiritual light shone down, instantly taking monk Nagarjuna in. With Xiao Chongshan cave heaven's suppression, and without the Lingbao elixir, the old monk was like a tiger without claws, and could no longer make any waves. When she captured Longshu, the battle between Zhang Shinian and Zhang Sanfan also ended. Compared with Zhang Shinian and others who have 2 or 3 spiritual treasures each and 1 middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure, Xianfeng Monkey King, Linghu Empress, Chixin Venerable and others, although their cultivation level is not bad, their hardware is inferior. Too much. And Dao Xing is not comparable. The fight between the 2 sides was not like a fight between monks of the same level, but like an adult bullying a child. It was far from the same. Looking at the 4 junior brothers and sisters gathered together. Junior brother Zhang, you go to the Fox clan state. Junior brother Qiyu, you go to the Chunyang state. Junior brother Zhang, you go to the Suanyan state. Junior brother Su, you go to the Xianfeng state. Su Huang assigned tasks one by one. When they came out this time, their task was not only to clear out the 7 monks from the 5 sects alliance, but also to clear out all the disciples of the 5 sects and bring the 5 Dazhaos under the rule of Chongshan. As Su Huang and the others rushed to the 5 continents, the battle in the east of Chongshan state gradually decided the winner. As expected, except for Yu Lingxiao, who was in charge of the middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao Deluo Divine Realm, which took some effort, the other immortal clan masters were captured within half a day. Without these superiors who hold up the sky of the immortal clan, the spiritual realm of the immortal clan is like an egg with a hard shell peeled off and swallowed by the mountains in one bite. An attack on Chongshan Academy came to an end. After the Chongshan state merged with other states, its area expanded 9 times. His illustrious reputation also made the surrounding factions tremble with fear. The moment they knew the outcome of the battle, they quickly sent their disciples to Kongshanfang to express their surrender. He was afraid that Chongshan, who was astonishingly powerful, would bring disaster to Chiu. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1275. Datongfang. A stream of light rose into the sky and flew straight towards the ordinary-looking but majestic 9-story stone tower standing in mid-air. In the awed eyes of outsiders, it disappears on its top floor. Looking at the old man sitting cross-legged on the altar, Sun Ruyun quickly stepped forward. The disciple has met the teacher. You came to see me, but something happened. Nothing can be hidden from the teacher, but the disciple has important matters, and it is related to the true lord of Chongshan, Su Junming. True Lord Datong frowned. Su Junming had been refining treasures for him for 3 UN meetings. Although the progress was not great, the other party did show his superb ability in refining weapons. In order to allow him to refining treasures for himself with peace of mind, matters related to it could not be ignored. Tell me the details. Chongshan Academy, the sect founded by Su Junming, had already wiped out the 900-strong clans, the Immortal Clan second only to the Dragon Clan, the powerful Nine-Tailed Fox Clan, and the King Kong Clan among the 3,000 sects 3 Yuan Hui ago, Xianfeng Sect, Chixin Chunyang Sect and Swanyan Ghost Section. True Lord Datong said with great interest, tell me about the process. Disciple doesn't know this. I don't know. Sun Ruyun nodded. In the past 3 Yuan Hui, Chongshan Academy used powerful formations to isolate Chongshan State, Xianfeng State, King Kong State, Fairy Secret Realm and other major states. No one knew what happened in the middle. It wasn't until the lockdown was lifted a few days ago that the news came out from some casual cultivators. It turns out that Chongshan Academy had completely occupied the dojos of the 6 factions before the 3 Yuan Hui, and completely eliminated all the monks who threatened them. Now after the digestion of the 3 Yuan Hui, they have completely consolidated themselves after occupying the 6 major states, the formations were lifted, the borders were opened, allowing the monks to come and go freely, and the news was able to spread to the outside world. Oh! It seems that the strength of Chongshan Academy is extraordinary. Sun Ruyun nodded, with a trace of shock still remaining on his face. With the strength of the Jibao sect, they dare not say that they can defeat the Immortal Clan alone, let alone the 5 major sects including the Xianfeng sect behind them. Teacher, Chongshan Academy is very powerful. Now it has become the most powerful sect force outside the 4 major divine states. Moreover, we don't know how strong his power is lurking underwater. If we continue to let it go, I'm afraid it will threaten our control over Datong China and the major states under our command. Sun Ruyun looked worried. Don't worry. It's not surprising that Chongshan Academy has such strength. What does the teacher mean? True Lord Datong smiled and said, have you forgotten how many middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao Su Junming refined for you in the past? Sun Ruyun suddenly realized. After she received the news, she was so shocked that she reported it to her master without thinking about it. She even forgot that Su Junming could refine the middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao. She also possesses a mid-grade Hongmeng Lingbao, and she knows very well that with such a treasure, she can completely crush those masters who do not have Lingbao. Moreover, Su Junming gave them more than a dozen mid-grade Hongmeng Lingbao, leaving only a few more for his own sect. Based on her understanding, not to mention a dozen or so middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasures, even 5 or 6 would be enough for Chongshan Academy to sweep through the 5 major sects and immortal clans. Thinking of this, I breathed a sigh of relief. Leaving aside the factor of Lingbao, Chongshan Academy's strength does not seem to be that strong anymore. Teacher, Kongshan's strength is developing too fast, we have to guard against it. Now is not the time. True Lord Datong pondered for a moment and then shook his head. Teacher. He waved his hand to interrupt what the disciple was saying. Compared with the loss of a few marginal states, the top-grade Hongmeng Lingbao that Su Junming had been constantly cultivating was more important to him. With this treasure, he can completely defeat Milo, Huanglong, and Tuoshan, take charge of the vast world of heaven, and become the true master of the world like his teacher Kang Yang. With the support of the world's destiny, his cultivation will surely go further and lay the foundation for achieving supreme status. That's what he really values. In comparison, the disputes in the small states on the edge of Datong China are nothing. After you go back, pay more attention to Chongshan Academy. As long as it does not endanger Datong China, let it expand and provide certain support when necessary. Teacher, is this appropriate? Chongshan is not us after all. I'll explain it to you later. For now, just do as I say. Seeing the teacher's calm expression, Sun Ruyun opened her mouth and reluctantly agreed. Disciple, obey. Although she didn't understand it, she knew the teacher's character. Once she decided something, she would never regret it. Looking at Sun Ruyun's retreating figure, Lord Datong shook his head. This disciple is limited to his cultivation, so his vision is finally a little narrower. However, this is also the result he wants to see. Otherwise, a restless disciple is most likely to breed ambition. He may even have evil thoughts for his own benefit, just like what he did back then. Teacher Kang Yang, after so many years, it's time for you to take action, right? The faint words echoed in the empty hall, and gradually fell into silence. Is this senior sister Su in front of you? The clear voice condensed into a line, spanning millions of miles, and reached Su Wang's ears. He stopped and turned his head to look. Not long after, a red-haired old man with a fat body and a smile, wearing a bright red Taoist robe and carrying a big red gourd, flew over like lightning. Junior brother Hong Yun. Haha, I just saw the air of ice and snow in front of me reaching up to the sky. It's vast and boundless, so I guessed it was senior sister Su. When I looked closer, it turned out to be so. A faint smile appeared on Su Wang's cold and pretty face. Junior brother also wants to return to Kongshan Fang. After nodding, Uncle Grandmaster has sent word that my Xiao Chongshan cave heaven has been refined and asked me to go back and get it. Junior brother Hongyun is indeed wise. Not all disciples are willing to merge the first Hongmeng spiritual treasure given by the sect with the Xiaochong mountain cave heaven. Haha, senior sister's wonderful praise. I just benefit from the protection of my senior brothers and sisters and enjoy peace, so I don't need to kill the spiritual treasure too powerfully. Instead, it is the Xiaochong cave that contains time, space, soul, and other wonderful functions. The sky is more suitable for me now. Ancestor Hongyun is quite sober. Whether it was the prehistoric era or the current era of wilderness, he always had a calm temperament that didn't like fighting. The Tiangong Dao that he majors in is not the Dao of killing. Therefore, there is no need to choose any killing spirit treasure. Instead, Xiao Chongshan Cave Heaven, which can extend time, open up space, protect the soul, and emphasizes auxiliary spirit treasure, is more suitable for him. And as he said, the second-generation disciples of Chongshan Academy were very powerful, and there were many people whose fighting skills were comparable to those of ordinary great masters, so there was no need for him to come forward to fight. Rather than leaving one killing spirit treasure in your hands, the auxiliary spirit treasure would be more helpful. Senior sister also wants to return to Kongshan Fang. My disciple Fu Qingfeng is preparing to survive the final tribulation of Hunyuan. As the master, I should protect him. That's it. I have met Master Qingfeng's nephew. He has a deep foundation and has already entered the realm of Hongmeng. There will be no problem in overcoming the tribulation this time. I hope it's as junior brother said. Haha, that must be the case. When Master King Feng's nephew survives the catastrophe, there will be 7 Hongmeng masters among my 3 generations of disciples in Chongshan. After many years of practice, except for Chen Lin, Shang Taijin, and Taoist Hesha who failed to overcome the tribulation, all the second-generation disciples of Chongshan have successfully advanced to the level of Supreme Master, totaling 31. If you include Su Junming, Nuhua, and others, there will be even more. Years of accumulation have made Chongshan Academy stronger and stronger. As the two talked, Kongshan Fang got closer and closer. Endless tall buildings and mansions gradually occupy all sight lines. Billions of streams of light gathered from afar, like a rolling Milky Way, and gradually disappeared into the endless buildings of Kongshan Fang. At the same time, countless spiritual lights flew out from it, like a vast flock of birds, noisy, and gradually faded away. This spectacular scene made countless monks who came here for the first time unable to help but stop and watch, marveling. Ancestors Su Huang and Hong Yun couldn't help but stop their retreat. Senior sister, since Yuan Hui has not come back, this Kongshan Fang is much more prosperous than before. Junior brother Zhao is indeed a genius in management. No wonder the teacher trusts him so much. Su Huang nodded slowly and said, "Let's go." She was devoted to cultivation and never paid much attention to management matters, but she was equally happy to have such an outstanding disciple under Chongshan sect. Ancestor Hongyun nodded and followed. As Kongshan Fang continues to expand, the 8 portals in the Xiang sect era are no longer enough. Now the outermost perimeter has turned into 365 million foot stone gates, half of which are for people to enter and half for people to go out, without interfering with each other. In addition, there are 108 teleportation arrays that lead directly to Hongmeng outside the territory. The area of Kongshan Fang is already comparable to that of a high-grade Hunyuan world that spans hundreds of millions of miles. Countless elixirs, magic weapons, and spiritual materials are gathered and distributed here, and its prosperity is second only to Datong Shenzhou Datong Fang. Moreover, thanks to the open cultivation environment of Chongshan, the strong cultivation atmosphere, and safe environment, there is a vague attitude of transcendence. But no matter how Kongshan Fang expands, the tallest building is already Chongshan Tower. This is a benchmark that no one dares to cross. After Su Huang and ancestor Hongyun came in, they activated the escape light and went straight to the top of Chongshan Tower. Su Junming set up a tyrannical restriction here. Even if the Supreme Lord came, he would not dare to break through. Ancestor Su Huang and Hongyun pressed the Danshan Dian Divine Mirror to project, and a faint spiritual light slowly retreated, revealing the portal behind it. The two pushed the door open and went in. Seeing the familiar figure sitting cross-legged in the center of the lobby, he quickly stepped forward and bowed down. Disciple Su Huang, Hongyun, pays homage to the teacher, Uncle Master. Patriarch Hongyun was the second disciple of Tiangong Taoist and Chi Yu's junior brother. He became Taoist through Tiangong. No need to be polite, just sit down. With a flick of his right hand, 2-sided futons grew out of the ground. After the two sat down, Su Junming spread his left hand, and a hill covered by clouds and fog emerged. 3 auras of azure, crystal, and black flashed in it, and a powerful aura filled the entire hall. Seeing it, ancestor Hongyun's expression instantly became excited. Seeing his expression, Su Junming smiled faintly, and with a move in his heart, the hill flew towards ancestor Hongyun. I have retrained this treasure, and now it contains 3 Hongmeng restrictions, involving 3 magical functions of time, space, and soul. Although it is not enough to kill, its protective ability is not small. Of course, as you wish, its most useful thing is to assist practice. Ancestor Hongyun held himself dearly, calling him the Xiao Chongshan cave heaven who had undergone earth-shaking changes, with an excited smile on his face. Thank you, uncle. I will practice well and never disgrace this treasure. As long as you have this intention. By the way, give me the waste elixir you recently refined. After Patriarch Hongyun nodded, he patted the gourd on his waist, took out a dozen jade boxes and handed them over. In fact, it wasn't just him, all the alchemy masters under Chongshan Academy had to hand over the useless elixirs after refining them to the sect, and finally collected them at Su Junming's place. Even outside monks would sell waste elixirs to Chongshan Academy. These useless elixirs, which in the eyes of outsiders were not much better than rubbish, were transformed into elixir materials by Su Junming using the method of returning to their origins through time, and then re-refined, and they would soon become the elixir that everyone wanted. Such 3 or 4 times more spiritual elixirs were produced out of thin air, which directly increased the cultivation speed of Chongshan disciples several times, and greatly improved the strength of the sect. Like the elixir, there are also abandoned spiritual treasures. However, spiritual treasures are much more sensitive than spiritual pills, especially high-level spiritual treasures. The gains in this area are not as good as the panacea. After collecting the waste elixir, Su Junming turned his head with a satisfied smile on his face. Xiao Huang your cultivation has improved again. When he defeated the alliance of 5 factions, Su Wang's magic power was still in the late stage of Shangzun. Now that the 9 Yuan Hui has come down, he has advanced to the peak of Shangzun. Judging from his conduct, he is not far from the great master. If it hadn't been for the spiritual treasure given by the teacher, the disciple would not be where he is today. As the 5th direct disciple of Su Junming and with an early breakthrough, Su Wang's luck was better than that of Patriarch Hongyun. As soon as he advanced to the level of Supreme Master, it happened to be a good time for Su Junming to refine the middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao for the Jibao section because of the large quantity. After each of the first-generation disciples was assigned 1 piece, he could still take care of the second-generation disciples. Therefore, Su Huang also got 1 piece. Therefore, after she advanced to the supreme level, what she got was not a low-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure, but a mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure. But Su Wang's choice was the same as ancestor Hongyun's. Instead of combining attack and defense, killing or defending spiritual treasures, let teacher Su Junming use the yin and yang method to crush those mid-grade Hongmeng spiritual materials, use their spiritual energy to practice the Xiaochang Mountain Cave Heaven, and make Xiaochang Cave in one fell swoop. Tian became the top middle-grade Hongmeng Lingbao of the 6 paths of spirit restriction. At the ratio of 1 to 1,000, 30 yuan will be equivalent to 30,000 yuan. Even if Su Huang majors in the way of ice and snow, practicing the 3 worlds of ice, snow, water, and wind, which requires a lot of time and spiritual energy, he has now reached the peak of the Supreme Being. It was precisely because of this choice that Su Huang highly appreciated the choice of ancestor Hongyun. Lingbao is only one aspect, and your own cultivation is another aspect. However, although your cultivation is improving rapidly, don't be in a hurry to advance to the great master. Polish your Taoism and refine your 3 ultimate divine light to the middle grade Hongmeng level. It's not too late to consider advancing. Teacher, don't worry, my disciples will never advance rashly. As long as you understand. Sometimes fast is slow, and slow is fast. If you blindly pursue the improvement of your cultivation, it is easy to be invaded by inner demons and go astray. Remember the lessons of your 3 junior brothers. Thinking of Chen Lin, Shang Taijin, and Taoist Hesha, Su Huang and Taoist Hongyun felt a chill in their hearts. The ending of almost physical death is an unforgettable nightmare for any monk. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1276. Chapter 1252 Su Junming breaks through. Chen-Lin, Shang-Taijin, and Taoist master Heshe were the only 3 disciples among the second-generation disciples of Chongshan who perished in the catastrophe. The death of the 3 people was like 3 giant hammers, which made the Chongshan disciples who were devoted to hard work and crazy advancement calm down and start to become more stable. Only then did they have a 100% success rate. Speaking of which, Su Junming is still to blame for this matter. The gap between the disciples such as Yang Mei and Zhen Yuanzi that he accepted in the prehistoric world is huge compared with those of disciples such as Qin Zhong and Lin Zhenying. It just so happens that these disciples are all senior brothers and sisters. As an elder, he was far behind his junior brothers and sisters in terms of cultivation. No one would feel comfortable, so he had to grit his teeth and practice hard, trying to catch up with those junior brothers and sisters as soon as possible. The rapid advancement of cultivation will inevitably lead to an unstable foundation, and the result of rushing through the tribulation is death. Fortunately, Su Junming was willing to take a big risk and save a ray of soul from the 3 of them at the cost of serious injuries, preventing them from completely perishing. But even so, nearly 100 yuanhui have passed, and Su Junming was conceived and raised by the Tao of creation, but the Yuan Shen of the 3 people have still not been completely restored. Of course, this is because Su Junming has too high demands and hopes to build the foundation of Hongmeng for his 3 disciples. When he is born, it will be much easier to achieve the status of a supreme being with Hongmeng level qualifications, such as a great supreme being. It can be considered as compensation for the 3 of them. Disciples must remember the teachings of their teacher, uncle master, work steadily and never make any rash advances. It's good if you are so determined. Suddenly, Su Huang and Hong Yun both raised their heads and looked at Su Junming. Just now, they clearly felt a sluggishness in Fang Yuanrong's vast aura. Although it lasted for a short time, it could not be hidden from their powerful spiritual consciousness. Looking at the eyes of the 2 people, Su Junming smiled. "You've finally caught up, just follow me." After saying that, he stood up, waved his sleeves, and a space channel about 10 feet in size appeared in front of him. With a step, his figure disappeared into it. After Su Huang and Hong Yun looked at each other, they both mobilized their magic power to follow. After passing through the space passage, a huge bamboo forest appeared in front of you. The sky-green fairy bamboos are hundreds of feet in diameter and tens of thousands of feet tall. They are lush and lush, numbering no less than tens of thousands. The rich Hongmeng spiritual energy flew from all directions and flowed into the bamboo forest. From a distance, it seems as if a huge emerald-shaped bubble appears in the dark ocean. It is beautiful and eye-catching, full of rich vitality and creation. Chongshan dwells in the inner cave. Neither Su Huang nor Hong Yun are unfamiliar with this place. He landed on a bluestone platform outside the bamboo forest that was as wide as 1,000 acres. He followed the winding stone path through the bamboo forest and soon came to a lake that was tens of thousands of acres in size. There are 3 spiritual islands in the center of the lake according to the shape of pin. One is the Immortality Island where more than a dozen kinds of Hongmeng spiritual root elixirs are cultivated, and the other is where a giant cross-border teleportation array is installed to communicate with the Chongshan True Realm and the Xiao Chongshan Cave Heaven of all Chongshan sect disciples. Void Island. The last one is Chongshan Residence where Su Junming practices, also called Chongshan Island. When the 2 of them followed the teacher to the lake, suddenly an extremely depressing aura emanated from the void. This kind of breath. It's a catastrophe. Su Huang and Hong Yun both survived endless tribulations and cultivated to the level of supreme Hongmeng. They were extremely sensitive to the aura of heavenly tribulations. So as soon as this breath came, I understood it. But compared to all the catastrophes they had endured in the past, the aura at this moment was unimaginably powerful. The Great Lord's heavenly tribulation is the Great Lord's heavenly tribulation. The 2 of them understood instantly. At the same time, the oppressive atmosphere became stronger and stronger. Boom! Earth-shaking thunder suddenly sounded. As if the clarion call for an offensive battle was sounded, the endless clouds of thunder and calamity, black and dense, were like galloping horses, surrounding them from all directions. But for a moment, the sky above the cave inside Chongshan residence was enveloped by endless thunder disasters. At this moment, a figure blooming with a vast aura rose into the sky like lightning and went straight into the center of the black calamity cloud. The tall figure wearing a green robe, a green gourd hanging from his waist, and his hair tied with a gold ring looked so familiar. Its teacher, Uncle Master, Su Huang and Hong Yun looked moved. Although I had already guessed the identity of the person who had overcome the tribulation, I was still extremely excited when it was confirmed at this moment. Even Su Huang, who had always been cold-tempered, had a flush of excitement on his face. However, Su Junming, who led them to build it, still stood by the lake and looked around. It's obviously a clone. Soon, 9 more beautiful figures appeared above Chongshan residence. They were wearing long skirts in 9 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, black, white, and black. They are very similar to each other, and are extremely elegant, with concern written all over their beautiful faces. Its master's wife, Yu Hongyun, has also been in the world of mortals for many years. From the looks on their faces, it can be seen that the relationship between them and their uncle must be extraordinary. But compared to these details, Su Junming's tribulation is obviously more eye-catching. After all, this is the great Lord's heavenly tribulation. Su Junming stood with his hands behind his hands, looking up at the sky full of calamity. 35 yuan we have passed since he and Nuwa practiced seclusion together. After using the time gourd to slow down the flow of time, it will be 35,000 yuan. Over such a long period of time, not only did his Taoism advance further, but his mana and energy and blood also accumulated to the extreme of the Supreme Being. This is the current move to overcome the tribulation. Feeling the calamity clouds that spanned hundreds of millions of miles, Su Junming did not feel too much pressure. His Taoism has reached the supreme realm, and his magic power and energy have been perfected for a long time. His foundation is so powerful that he is almost unparalleled in the same realm. The natural calamity that others fear as much as a tiger has become a small obstacle on the road to pursuit. This also fully proves that as long as you are down to earth and elevate your practice to the extreme, heavenly calamity is not actually a fatal danger. It's a pity that too many people want to take shortcuts. After all, there are only a few strong people who can endure loneliness, practice hard for hundreds of millions of years, and have extremely strong mental perseverance. If Su Junming had not had the Dian mirror and understood the Tao of time, he would not have achieved such an achievement. Rumble. Along with the mighty thunder, the calamity clouds in mid-air became thicker and wider, and the oppressive atmosphere became heavier. The great master's heavenly calamity was so vast that the entire cave in Chongshan residence was enveloped by it. After paying attention for a moment, Su Junming's heart moved. A gourd in black and white, with a yin and yang fish pattern imprinted on the bottom, blooming with a strong yin and yang charm, soars into the sky. The next moment, the endless swallowing power spread out. The thunderclouds of that calamity were instantly attracted and flowed into the yin-yang gourd. The yin and yang Tao rhyme circulates, the Tai Chi diagram shines brightly, and the endless calamity energy is swallowed up, and then grinded by yin and yang into the most primitive Hongmeng spiritual energy, which is absorbed by the yin and yang gourd. The gathered calamity energy instantly became sparse. Rumble. The endless lightning, like a writhing dragon and snake, roared and shook the sky for millions of miles. A frightening force of heaven pressed in my heart. Su Huang, Hong Yun, Nuwa, Fenqi and other 9 girls all looked a little pale. The vast power of heaven is too much pressure. Along with the roar of billions of thunders, the speed of the gathering of calamity clouds increased again, and it was more than 10 times stronger than before. Su Junming saw this and felt something in his heart. An emerald green gourd vine grew from the bawy point on the top of his head. At the beginning, it was just a small, tender green seedling as thick as a finger. In just a few moments, it had grown to be tens of billions of feet long, coiled together, like a giant blue mountain. Under those gourd leaves that are comparable to the entire world, 13 gourds that are hundreds of millions of feet in size and come in 13 different colors, including black and white, 5 colors, water mirror, and mysterious black, bloom with endless rays of color. Yin and Yang, the 5 elements, space, time, and destiny, 13 completely different yet equally vast Taoist rhymes pervade the entire Chongshan realm. Suddenly, 13 gourds burst into light. A swallowing power tens of thousands times stronger than the previous yin-yang gourd, shrouded in endless clouds of calamity. Boom! For a moment, it seemed as if there was a huge collapse in the space. Under this incredible power of swallowing, most of the calamity clouds in the sky dissipated instantly, and the remaining ones also disappeared at an extremely fast speed. However, in a moment, the previous situation of dark clouds pressing down on the city and threatening to destroy it has turned into a sky-high cloud. Ancestor Hongyun felt his jaw dropped. Oh my god, my uncle is so awesome. Su Huang next to him also had a face full of disbelief. Nuwa and Fenqi were shocked, but they also felt unspeakable pride as Su Junming's woman. This is my man. However, it is not so easy to survive the heavenly tribulation, especially the Great Lord's tribulation. Boom! The earth-shattering thunder sounded like a war drum. The movement was 100 times stronger than before. The vast power of heaven seemed to be pressed down hard by an ancient giant mountain. The endless spiritual energy was brutally sucked in by the law of the Great Avenue, and its speed increased thousands of times. Almost in an instant, the sky once again returned to the previous situation of billions of thunder rolling, and black clouds of calamity overwhelming the sky for a long time. And the scale of this thunder disaster has become even greater. Su Junming saw it, with a faint smile on his face, and activated the magic formula. The amazing power of swallowing and sucking bloomed again. Because the speed at which Ji-Yun devoured spiritual energy had increased so much, he didn't swallow it all in just a few seconds this time. However, the mighty cloud of calamity dropped visibly to the naked eye. Thunder rolls between heaven and earth, like the anger of heaven. The endless Hongmeng spiritual energy was transformed into calamity energy, but before it could form thunder, it was quickly swallowed and refined by the gourd vine. As Su Junming realized the 13 types of thoughts to the supreme realm, Calabash Vine became a bottomless abyss that could never be filled. Unless Su Junming fills it with more than a dozen high-grade Hongmeng spiritual objects, or spends millions of yuan in training, it will be difficult to advance. Now, he has overcome the Great Lord's heavenly tribulation. Under the auspices of Dao Dao, the spiritual energy that was not originally strong has been transformed into a powerful calamity cloud at an alarming speed. It was like an unimaginably powerful spiritual gathering array, gathering spiritual energy quickly. For Calabash Vine, which continues to grow in spiritual energy, it is even more powerful. Even if the thunder tribulation chi is violent, facing Dao Yun who has reached the supreme level, it can only be quickly refined. Moreover, the gourd vine itself is a middle-grade Hongmeng level spiritual root, which is tough and powerful. As the master of spiritual roots, Su Junming clearly sensed that the origin of the gourd vine was growing rapidly, and a happy smile appeared on his face. Just for a while, at least he saved hundreds of yuan of hard work and refinement. Wow! Suddenly, the gourd vine expanded in a large circle from its original size. Obviously, it has advanced. This kind of advancement is not a breakthrough at a large level, but a breakthrough from the midterm to the later stage. When Su Junming was practicing in the past, the calabash vine was constantly absorbing the refining spiritual energy and growing. The current support from the heavenly tribulation thunder was the last straw that broke the camel's back and promoted the calabash vine's advancement. Don't underestimate this level, it is a thousand-fold improvement for calabash vine. The exponentially increasing power of swallowing instantly eliminated most of the lightning disaster in the sky. The next moment, it was almost completely gone. The scene that had been repeated once before appeared in front of everyone again. Finished. Su Huan couldn't help but ask questions in his heart. It's not finished yet. Su Junming clearly felt that the barrier blocking him still existed. An unimaginably magnificent force suddenly pressed down. Like the deep sea and the abyss, the huge unimaginable power made everything in the world suddenly quiet. In front of this vast heavenly power, time seemed to have stood still. Ancestor Hongyun's face turned pale, and this strong pressure made him suffocate. Soon, a gigantic, unimaginably complex spiritual pattern appeared high in the sky. Everyone felt a powerful and explosive force from it. That is the power of thunder. This is the manifestation of Thunder Avenue. Su Junming knew it at a glance. With the appearance of the great Dao talisman, the calamity energy of heaven and earth gathered at a speed tens of millions of times faster than before, occupying half the day almost in the blink of an eye. Su Junming took a breath and sat cross-legged with eyes closed. The mana in the body is input into the gourd vine, helping his own spiritual roots to absorb and refine the calamity energy that fills the sky. The rolling force of swallowing and sucking is like a gluttonous mouth. No matter how much calamity is filled in, it will never be satisfied. Because the speed was too fast, a roaring sound like a mountain roaring and a tsunami appeared in mid-air. Beyond the gourd vine, hundreds of millions of feet turned into darkness. Because of the powerful power of swallowing, all materials were swallowed and refined by the gourd vine, and the broken space was difficult to repair, thus forming this huge vacuum zone. One is gathering with all his strength, the other is struggling to swallow. The situation was at a stalemate. This unique scene of transcending tribulation is truly rare and has never been seen by anyone before. In addition to being shocked, Su Huang, Hongyun, Nuwa, Fenqi and others also sensed unprecedented danger from it. Wrestling directly with Dao, let alone the Supreme Being, even the Supreme Being would not dare to think about it, let alone do it. Teacher is really brave. If Dao becomes angry and his power increases 1,000 times, wouldn't it be a failure to overcome the tribulation, Su Huang thought to himself. This man is really brave. When he passes this calamity, he must speak up. Nuwa was extremely nervous. After many years of getting along, she has now become accustomed to the feeling of having someone to rely on. It is completely unacceptable, let alone unimaginable, what the consequences of losing Su Junming will be. Sitting cross-legged, with his consciousness connected to the gourd vine, Su Junming could clearly feel the explosive and powerful pressure of the Thunder Avenue. However, he did not make such a choice blindly. Instead, it went through hundreds of deductions in advance with the help of the Dian mirror. After confirming the success rate of more than 90%, I finally made up my mind. Looking at it now, he made the right choice. Saved tens of thousands of dollars for the growth of gourd vines. The risk was well worth it. As the gourd vine continues to grow, its swallowing power is also increasing. Gradually, the power of swallowing and sucking overwhelmed the transformation efficiency of the heavenly tribulation thunder. Although monks need to be tested by lightning tribulations to overcome tribulations, there is always a limit. It was impossible for Su Jun to overcome the great heavenly tribulation and just add the intensity of the supreme heavenly tribulation to him. 1 day, 2 days, and gradually, the two sides were in a stalemate for 3 years. It's almost a breakthrough. Su Junming felt excited. He clearly felt that Calabash Vine had reached the later stage of perfection and was only one step away from reaching the peak state. Just when he was about to go all out and absorb enough heavenly tribulation to help the Calabash Vine break through the ranks, the thunder talisman of the avenue that spanned half the sky suddenly disappeared. Without its auspices, Ji-Yun became sourceless water, which was quickly absorbed and refined by the gourd vine. Su Junming opened his eyes and frowned. The thunderstorm has passed. Looking at the sky that is rapidly becoming lighter and lighter, I feel both joy and loss in my heart. It's just a little bit close. Why can't you hold on a little longer and let my gourd vine reach its peak? Shaked his head. The result was like this, and he couldn't change it. But fortunately, Calabash Vine has accumulated enough foundation. Even if he loses the supply of heavenly tribulation chi, he can still break through if he concentrates on assisting Calabash Vine in absorbing the spiritual energy of more than a dozen yuan hui. The contribution to growth that comes from spending tens of thousands of yuan less is also a great opportunity. The thunder tribulation has passed, and next is the inner demon tribulation. Su Junming can also block one or two of these calamities that directly affect the soul with the help of the soul gourd. But after thinking about it, he gave up. Monk, the soul is the foundation. Using inner demons to hone one's soul is also the only way for a monk to grow. Su Junming doesn't want to leave any shortcomings in this area, even if he has the Dian mirror. No matter how powerful the spiritual treasure is, it cannot replace one's own practice. The inner demon illusion is the most mysterious, although from the outside world, it only takes a few days from the disappearance of the thunder tribulation to the time Su Junming overcomes the inner demon tribulation. But he has been in the inner demon world for thousands of lives. He simply never forgot to practice in every life, and finally struggled out of it, and also passed through the inner demon tribulation of this great realm. It is a pity that because the previous thunder tribulation energy was absorbed by the gourd vine, the time for the great avenue to bring down the energy of creation was extended for a long time this time. But regardless of the process, he finally advanced to the realm of the great master. Feeling the surging power in his body, which was thousands of times stronger than before, Su Junming's face showed deep joy and confidence. After making up for the shortcomings in mana, there will be no opponent for me in the wild world, Su Junming thought to himself. If you add the assistance of Calabash Vine, even if you zoom into the entire southern wilderness, there will be few existences that can match him. If coupled with the Dian Divine Mirror, he can completely conquer the 9 desolations. Junming. Accompanied by cries of concern, Nuwa and Fenki swarmed over. Yingying and Yanyan surrounded Su Junming in the middle, their pretty faces full of excitement. Taoist Su Huang and Hongyun saw this, and although it was a little inconvenient, they had to come. Disciple congratulates the teacher, Uncle Master, for surviving the catastrophe and becoming a great master. Haha, no need to be polite, just get up. Thank you very much, teacher, uncle. After slightly nodding, Su Junming continued, I have just made a breakthrough. I still need to practice in seclusion and stabilize my cultivation, so I won't entertain you. In addition, you must remember that my breakthrough is not allowed to be spread. Yes, disciple, I obey. Su Junming made up his mind to make a decision before taking action. Naturally, he did not want to disrupt the tense situation among the 4 great masters of the Mang Huang realm because of his breakthrough. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1277. Chapter 1253, Talented people emerge from history. After sending Su Huang, ancestor Hongyun, and Nuwa away, Su Junming found a quiet room and silently realized the changes in his body. After the Dao seeing broke through the great master before, the 13 basic talismans that had weighed heavily on the Danshan also became lighter. In the Danshan, which is nearly 10,000 times wider, the light cyan mana is dense and viscous, and every drop contains astonishing power. Breaking through from the Supreme Being to the Great Supreme Being is a fundamental qualitative change. Of course, it's not just the mana that has undergone a qualitative change, but also the soul. With a movement in his heart, a spiritual light shone, and an unusually primitive square bronze mirror appeared from the palm of his hand. With a flash of light, the bronze mirror the size of a wash basin transformed into a mysterious cyan lotus that shrouded the Tao of creation, with 36 grades up and down. After a while, the lotus turned into a golden 9-story pagoda. Finally, the pagoda turned into the precious mirror it had been before. During operation, it becomes much more flexible. With his breakthrough in cultivation, his mastery of the Dian divine mirror also deepened. The smile on his face grew wider. After breaking through to the great master, everything is different. Swish. 7 spiritual lights of different colors flew out of his body and scattered in all directions. It was Renwuji, Longdi, Ao Tian, Suda, Chen Xianzang, Tiangong and Pan Tuo. Wow wow wow, boss, you have already reached the level of great master. Renwuji couldn't help shouting. Although after achieving the Hongmeng Dao body, strictly speaking, the 8 people have transcended the categories of clones and Dharma bodies. They are more like individuals who are dominated by Su Junming's will, but each has his own independent emotions. Specifically, the 7 people all have independent spirits and souls, but they are influenced by Su Junming. Once the latter breaks through, they can clearly sense that their soul essence has broken through to the great master. Then they all rushed over. Boss, you have made a breakthrough, why don't you lend us the time gourd, Suda said enviously. As a time spiritual treasure, the middle grade Hongmeng level time gourd can slow down time 1,000 times. But the 7 of them, except Taoist Tiangong, only have the low grade Hongmeng level Xiao Chongshan cave heaven refined by Su Junming. The time flow rate is 100 times faster, so the progress of cultivation is naturally not as good as Su Junming's. Su Junming nodded. I won't need it for the time being, so you can take it. The way of cultivation is to relax one by one. Now that he has broken through to the great master, the next step is to stabilize his cultivation and relax his mind. The time gourd is of little use. On the contrary, Renwuji, Long Emperor and others who have already reached the peak of Dao Shangzun all need it. He looked at Taoist Tiangong, who was wearing a green linen robe, had a fat body, and had a parallel expression. Old Chi, are you ready to overcome the tribulation? It's no accident, it's just been in the past few years. Taoist Tiangong nodded. When Su Junming assigned middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasures to each of the 8 people, Tiangong Taoist already had the Chaos Green Lotus, a high-grade Hongmeng spiritual root, to suppress them, so he chose to sacrifice the Xiao Chongshan cave heaven to a middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure. Although it requires more mana than Su Junming's time gourd to achieve a time flow rate of 1 to 1000, it does give it a longer training time. After many years, it came to a time when the Supreme Master's perfection was on the verge of collapse. Damn it, I should have chosen to upgrade the Xiao Chongshan cave heaven like Lao Qi back then, Renwuji regretted. It's not too late for me to be the second child, Suda encouraged. Do you think I'm as stupid as you? Renwuji rolled his eyes. With the gourd of time, what else is needed for Xiao Chongshan cave heaven? Moreover, he is not an otaku like Tiangong Taoist who eats, sleeps, and eats. He has hundreds of thousands of yuanhui without even moving around. He often goes to discipline those who are caught in the Chongshan true realm. If there is no one who can take advantage of him, how can he make these people obey him? Now that you have broken through to the great master, what are you going to do with the great realm of Manghuang? Do you want to change the expansion strategy of the Chongshan true realm? Ao Tian asked. Regarding major events involving the future development of Chongshan, the cultivators looked solemn and looked at Su Junming in unison. A look of deep thought appeared on his face. Think for a moment. Chongshan should not expand for the time being. With the breakthrough in cultivation, his vision also improved unconsciously, and he no longer looked down on those true realms. Even if Chongshan swallows thousands of true realms, it will still be less than 1% of the vast wilderness, and there is still a risk of exposure. Use the time saved to practice and strive to break through to the great master as soon as possible. As for the great realm of wilderness, there is no need to take action for the time being. With your strength, combined with Calabash Vine, you should be able to defeat the 4 great masters of Datong, Maluo, Huanglong, and Tuoshan, the Dragon Emperor said solemnly. That's true. But don't forget, there is a great master beside you, Emperor Kanyang, who is in charge of the spiritual treasure of the great realm of Manghuang, as well as the great realm of demon spirits that are eyeing the world. Moreover, at this time, regardless of the demon spirits or Manghuang, or maybe Kanyang, who secretly covets the vast world, is standing still, and if we take the initiative, we will instantly become the target of public criticism. Although I am confident of defeating these people, there are too many variables in the middle. It is better to stand still for the time being and wait for them to fight first, and then we will come out to clean up the mess. By then, we will have saved a lot of time and effort, and we can also get more. Everyone immediately understood what he said. The great world in the southern wilderness was not just a wilderness and demon spirits. He, boss. It seems that after overcoming the tribulation, you have not only improved your cultivation and mana, but also your appetite and ambition, Renwuji said with a smile. After looking at him, Su Junming smiled calmly. Break through the great master as soon as possible. My appetite is much greater than you think. If the records in the ancient books are correct, then the southern wilderness will be the last hunting ground. Once you enter the mountains and seas, you can only absorb spiritual energy step by step to strengthen the world. Therefore, Su Junming wanted to take advantage of the last opportunity to grab a handful and solidify the foundation of Chongshan world. In this way, in the 3 mountains and 4 seas, with the powerful high-grade Hongmeng world as the foundation, even if the Heavenly Lord comes, he can advance and retreat freely. Just when Su Junming broke through, the spiritual energy of the great world of Manghuang boiled, and the heavens shook. Although it lasted for a short time, it shocked the entire Manghuang, especially the 4 great masters. Who is going through the tribulation? The true monarch of Datong suddenly stood up from his throne. With a thought in his heart, his body soared upwards, instantly reaching the 9 heavens. His eyes were slightly closed, his hands were tumbling like electricity, and countless spiritual patterns surrounded his body. Waves of mysterious life path fluctuations filled the whole body. Disappeared. True Lord Datong opened his eyes. When monks generally overcome the tribulation, especially the Great Lord's tribulation, the entire wild world is boiling with spiritual energy, and the purple energy comes from the east for tens of trillions of miles. The dazzling celestial phenomena shook the whole world, and even the celestial phenomena appeared around the wilderness. Now it has just begun and then suddenly disappears. Did it fail? After a while of reasoning, nothing was gained. Datong Zhenjun is not very proficient in the method of destiny, and the deduction depends entirely on luck. It's normal to not get any useful information. Returning to the Datong Tower, after pondering for a while, he formed a seal with his hands, and an illusory copper bell flashed past. Not long after, Sun Ruyun flew over. The disciple has met the teacher. No need to be polite. Someone in the cultivation world just tried to attack the realm of the great master, but they probably didn't succeed. Go and find out the news about this cultivation. If you find anything, let me know as soon as possible. Master, Sun Ruyun was shocked. In the wild world, the great master represents all words of wonder. Great, powerful, unparalleled, etc. He also holds supreme power, which is the realm that all monks long for. It's a pity that from the establishment of the Manghuang Great Realm to the present, the number of monks who have become great masters can be counted on 2 hands. Too difficult. Dharma, Taoism, and character are all indispensable. The former can also be achieved through hard work, but the path to Taoism depends entirely on understanding and chance, while the nature of mind is a metaphysical proposition. No one knows whether his Xingxing has reached the level of transcending tribulation. Taken together, 90% of the masters can survive the magic level, but only half of the monks can improve their Taoism to the realm of the master. There may only be 1 in 10,000 people with a clear Xingxing. Taken together, there are even fewer. Sun Ruyun was relieved when he heard that the other party had not succeeded in overcoming the disaster. There are only 4 divine states in the vast world. If there is one more, the situation will change drastically in an instant. If the distribution is uneven, a war will break out in an instant. As a disciple of the true monarch of Datong, she certainly cannot stay out of the matter. Disciple will mobilize all the treasure-gathering sect members to find out the news for the teacher. As soon as they find anything, they will report it immediately. After Datong Zhenjun nodded with satisfaction, he pondered for a moment, spread his left hand, and a sky-blue porcelain bottle slowly flew out. There are 3 low-grade Hongmeng elixirs in here. Take them back and take them, so as to reach the peak of the Supreme Being as soon as possible. If you want the horse to run, you must first give benefits. True monarch Datong did not do it right. Sun Ruyun, who was happy in her heart, quickly took it over. Although 3 low-grade Hongmeng elixirs are not advanced enough, they can make one's magic power take a big step forward and save millions of years of hard work, which is worth a lot of money. Thank you, teacher. If this happens, I will still have a reward. Sun Ruyun's heart suddenly became hot, and his mobility was overwhelming. Teacher, don't worry, my disciples will definitely do their duty. My teacher believes in you, go ahead. Disciple resigns. Sun Ruyun activated his magic power and left in a hurry. Looking at the retreating figure, the smile on Zhenjun Datong's face gradually returned to calmness. He keenly sensed that signs of chaos were gradually appearing in the wild world that had stabilized hundreds of thousands of Yuanhui. Teacher, did you do it? Shake his head slightly. He also couldn't see clearly how turbulent the undercurrent was in the calm situation of the vast wilderness. With the thought in his heart, the figure slowly disappeared. When it reappears, it is a beautiful world with beautiful scenery, strong vitality, and dense aura. In the center of heaven and earth, a broad lake is embedded in the earth like a mirror, and it is extremely beautiful. A steep stone peak rises from the center of the lake into the sky like a sharp sword. Although it is only 100 feet tall, it has a soaring aura. The top of the stone peak is not very wide, but most of it is covered with emerald green bamboo, which sets off the lush kiwao grass at the corners. It is a good place for cultivating immortals. A young man wearing a green robe and hair tied with a gold ring sat upright under the bamboo forest, his eyes slightly closed, his whole body full of magical power, his hands in mudra, and he meditated silently. 3 feet in front of him, a large seal with 8 corners and 4 sides, the size of the mouth of a bowl, bloomed with dim light. In the bright yellow brilliance, the rich earthy charm blooms. Staring at the big seal of the 9-dragon disc from a distance, the eyes of true monarch Datong became fiery. It's almost done. A strong look of joy and a touch of greed appeared on his face. After a long time, the figure gradually disappeared like a phantom in the water. Su Junming, who was sitting cross-legged in meditation, turned around and suddenly opened his eyes. He glanced at the direction where true monarch Datong disappeared, then withdrew his eyes and looked at the seal in his hand. Nearly 10 yuanhui have passed since true Lord Datong entrusted him with cultivating the breath soil in his hands. Although he deliberately delayed, in order to avoid the other party becoming suspicious, the seal was almost completed. Fortunately, now that I have advanced to the level of Great Master, I don't have to delay it any longer. Although he thought so, he said he didn't mind continuing as long as it could delay some time. I don't know if true Lord Datong felt the changes in the vast world, but Milo, Tuoshan, and Huanglong also felt it. In the holy court of Maluo, after arranging for the disciples to search for the reason, Master Maluo no longer had the intention to practice and sat down with a heavy heart. Although he is revered as one of the 4 great gods in the wild world, his status is respected. But my family knows their own affairs. The true monarch of Datong has inherited the mantle of Emperor Kenyang, and his cultivation has reached the middle stage of the Great Master, with half a foot in the late stage. If they really wanted to fight, he would be no match for the two of them. Although Grand Master Huanglong has the same cultivation level as him, in the early stage of Grand Master, he is from the Dragon Clan and has a close relationship with the Southern Wilderness Dragon Clan's ancestral court, the Heavenly Dragon Realm. No matter who can take charge of the Heavenly Dao of the Wilderness Realm in the future, they will not dare to do anything to the Yellow Dragon Master. After all, there are more than 100 great masters of the Southern Wilderness Dragon Clan standing behind him. It can be called the most powerful clan in the Southern Wilderness. Jingle bell. Just when Master Milo was filled with sorrow, the brass bell on his waist suddenly rang. He was stunned for a moment, and after a slight hesitation, he made a hand gesture. A ray of light flew out from the brass bell, and after landing, a powerful figure wearing armor, with a body as majestic as a mountain, and the body of a bull was revealed. It is Tuoshan Zunshan, one of the four great deities of Manghuang. Today, what are you looking for me for? Maluo, did you also see the celestial phenomenon just now? I'm not blind, of course I can see it. But in such a short period of time, I guess some guy who overestimated his own capabilities failed to overcome the tribulation. Master Milo looked calm. Having said that, didn't you expect anything from it? Lord Milo frowned and said, don't be so secretive. If you have anything to say, say it quickly. In order to deal with the oppression of true monarch Datong, they have secretly united together for many years. It has been 120,000 yuan since you and I became the Great Master. Some of the first people to achieve the Great Master have now stayed at the Supreme Master's level for many years. As soon as these words came out, Milo suddenly felt enlightened. He didn't expect this level. Every generation in the country has talents. Basically, after an era passes, a new generation of Supreme Beings will try to break through the Great Supreme Being. Live success, or fail, but rarely back down.